Miami, Fort Lauderdale. WQAM Miami, an Odyssey sports station. The home of Joe Rose with Hollywood, Tobin and Leroy, and Hot Crowder and Solana. South Florida sports lives here.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit us, Doral Volkswagen or DoralVolkswagen.com. The Knicks took a 2-0 series lead over the Cavs, winning 109-93. Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals tonight at 8:30. As it's tied at 1 between the Spurs and the Thunder. The Marlins lost 3 of 4 to the Braves, falling 9-3 last night. They host the Mets tonight at 7:10. Yuri Perez gets the start. And the Canes defeated Boston College 8-2 yesterday at the ACC Baseball Tournament quarterfinals. They take on Georgia Tech tomorrow at 1. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Storm season is coming. Make sure your home is ready. Get your free roof and window estimate today. Visit tornadoroofing.com. Going to be partially cloudy with temperatures in the high 80s and rainy then throughout the weekend. I am Dan Day. Time now for the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
And a good morning. Welcome in on this Friday. We'll keep it rolling here for you on this Friday. It's a 3-day weekend, man. Good morning. I'm Hollywood. Dan Day is sitting across from me. Omar is dancing. Donno is here with us. Donno's trying to fix college football. Joe is taking the day off. He's out on the West Coast, and we can't have Joe keep waking up at 11 o'clock at night and driving into the Milpina studios over there. So he's going to take the day off.
The studio is not in Milpitas. Please tell me it's not.
It is. He was at 106.9 The Bone. You didn't know that? No, but we're going to give him the day off. He'll be back with us on Tuesday after the long weekend. But good morning, gentlemen. Omar, we got the Dolphins, a lot of stuff to get to there. We have brought Donno in again because Joe yesterday just throwing whatever on the wall to see what would stick to try to fix college football. And Donno, I'm glad you're here with us because I don't have the answers. I assume you don't have answers, but I hope you have thoughts at least. The Big Ten, the SEC seem to be in this little contest with each other, and everyone else, I guess, is just kind of watching and waiting and seeing. And what is this situation? Like, is this all right now the fight over this playoff thing and expanding it where they want to get to, 24 teams now? Like, set the table for us here. What on earth is going on?
Yeah, so obviously every single interested party is trying to scratch the itch that gets them paid the most is what's going on here. Now, most college football fans, not going to say all, but most, do not want a 24-team playoff. That it's too big. It devalues the regular season. It would literally kill conference championship games. But now you'd be looking at four lost teams making the playoffs, possibly even 5 lost teams, because you know how they love their SEC. So it ruins the regular season. Almost nobody wants this. But Hollywood, the way that this works is, not that the ACC and the Big 12 have any real say, because you characterized it correctly. It's really the Big 10 and the SEC are the power brokers, right? Mm-hmm. But, most of the ACC and Big 12 would support a 24-team playoff because it gives their teams a better chance to get in, right? Mario Cristobal is against it, though. That's worth noting, and I was proud of Coach speaking up against it. Now, the Big 10, the primary reason why the Big 10 is pushing for a 24-team playoff is their TV partner, Fox, doesn't have any playoff games, and that's because the playoff is small and ESPN has exclusive rights to it. If they were to expand beyond 14 teams, then the extra games go to the open market, and you would assume Fox would get a lot of those, if not most of those extra games, and that would get the Big Ten more money. So that's why the Big Ten is for it. Now, if you think the SEC is all noble because they want to keep the playoffs small, no. They want the right thing, but for the wrong reasons. The reasons why the SEC wants to keep the playoff at 12 is if they were to lose their conference championship game, which would happen if they go to 24. They kill the conference championship games. The SEC's conference championship game is worth way more than anyone else's, $80 million annually estimated. Wow. So if they lose that, they don't feel like they automatically make up that revenue with the 2014 playoffs. So that's why the SEC is fighting to keep the playoff at 12, which I like, but they're doing it for the wrong reasons. And why the Big Ten is fighting to expand the playoff. I think it's so their TV partner can get more money, which would get more money to them in turn.
So would this, like, for the ACC, like, let's say, like, would they get rid of their conference championship game? Would they have any need to play it?
Everybody gets rid of it.
Everyone would just have to
everybody
get
gets rid of it because if the playoff gets that much bigger, the calendar would no longer allow for a conference championship game.
So you'd be starting in what, early December, I guess, with these conference or these playoff games. I mean,
that's
basically talking about what, 4 more games.
Yeah, and I don't know if they have a good plan for the calendar. I would think they would have to start the season a week earlier, and everybody starts at week 0 instead of most teams starting week 1. I don't know, but the calendar would get messed up as well.
So I guess what this all boils down to is what is more lucrative for everyone, right? I mean, that's the same thing as the NFL. It's like whatever brings you more money, we are going to do. And I don't feel like anyone cares about watering down your product, right? They did it with the NCAA basketball tournament. I mean, how many teams with losing records are we going to let into the NCAA basketball tournament? Like, you should not be rewarded for being 500 or below. And I just feel like they want as many SEC teams, because those are the teams that were getting in at 500, right? Remember they were fighting for Auburn to get into that thing? Auburn was like 5 games under 500. And they go, well, we beat Florida on the road. We should be in the tournament. It's like, I just think any like opportunity for these 2 conferences to better themselves and everyone else be damned. The question then becomes, Donno, do we need conferences? Like, if we're not going to play conference championship games, why do we need conferences? And I know, like, there's a lot of TV contracts and this and that, and I wonder at what point do we just say, all right, this isn't working, especially for football, right? Like, Miami opens up the season at Stanford. What time's that game? 10 o'clock at night here?
They went easy on us, and it's 9 o'clock. They
9
could have done it worse. It's still late, but it's not as late as they could have made it.
So the game's going to kick off at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
Right, which is usually 9:15, knowing how these things operate.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just doesn't make any sense to me, man. I have no desire to see Miami play Stanford ever. Like, I don't even no non-conference, like nothing. Like, it just doesn't do anything for me. I would rather see Miami play UCF, USF, any of the schools, FIU, FAU. I'd rather see them play here in Florida.
I'd rather keep playing Florida. Play
in Northern
the Gators
California,
every year.
right? Well, it just like I'd rather see them play in Florida than Northern California. There's 50 schools in Georgia, Alabama, like anywhere that's local. That like we have fans down here that can travel, and it just makes it feel more accessible. Miami is basically in another country at that point. By the time you get out to Northern California, like. I think if you're going to do anything, if you're going to try to fix some of the wrongs that have been done in college sports, let's realign the conferences to be geographically aligned and bring some of these rivalries back that we've lost since teams have started shifting all over the place. Like, Miami should be playing Florida every year, like you just said. That should be a no-brainer. That game was so much fun that people get juiced up for that rivalry. And if we're not going to do a conference championship game, what are we doing here? What's the point?
I look at it from the standpoint of how does everything impact all of the state schools? And, okay, if we're going to get rid of conference championship games, does that mean that 2 teams from the SEC and 2 teams from the ACC get into this playoff dance? Does it mean that does this give UCF and USF a better chance? Let's say if they get a 10-win team. I mean, how are we doing this? Are we just letting the top 25 ranked teams, 24 ranked teams into the playoff system? Also, the question I have is, are we no longer giving first round buys to any opponent? Or
you'll definitely be getting buys. Yeah, I think there's a handful of teams getting buys.
Yeah.
Hey, Donno, it would be funny though too, and Omar, like, You do a top 25 poll, right? Like the CFP poll is a top 25. Don't we got to cut that to a top 24 so we don't have that one team sitting there at 25 who like throws their massive, their fit?
That is true. That is
right?
true.
I mean, can you imagine being 25th?
You just like sitting in timeout.
Yeah, you're gonna have like a one-loss ACC team sitting at 25th. And
there's a 4-loss SEC team.
Auburn is 6-5. We're gonna let them in. Sorry.
So how many rounds of games do I need to play to get to a championship game? Let's say if
well, Miami had to play. What did they have to play? 4 games total.
Miami had to play 4 games. So
and
that was
that's
12. So
that's because they didn't even play in the ACC championship game too.
That's true.
Right.
That is true.
So I'm guessing 5 then, right? I mean, it's got to add an extra.
Schedule.
You double it, you've got to add at least 1 extra round. Yeah.
Oh man, but do you agree though, Donno? Like geographically, we need to realign these conferences.
Oh,
like especially the Big Ten with like all those California schools. Like it does nothing for me to see all these teams playing each other. These West Coast, East Coast. I can't imagine the TV networks love it.
I mean, it gives them something on the map for everybody when you go to these ACC and SEC and Big Ten networks, and realistically, that's what the whole spread out throughout the nation is about. What's interesting is they saw this coming for so many different reasons, so many different years ago, even back to when Miami moved to the ACC. These conferences knew they were going to devour one another, and they have since. It's sad, it's disappointing, but what I find odd is that the lower levels have had 16-game national championship playoff series for forever. We've complained about why those were unrealistic, why we shouldn't be doing them, why college athletes can't play more than 4 postseason games to win their championship. And now that we're paying players, we're like, screw it. Let's make the pot bigger for TV, and they're paid athletes anyway. Next we'll just say, stop. Why are they going to school?
That's what I was going to say. When does the SEC and the Big Ten realize we don't need the NCAA? We're going to break off, do our own thing. We're going to purge the teams we want. Miami, North Carolina, this, and they can play by their own rules. People sitting there, but what about Title IX? They don't have to have Title IX. What about standards of grades? We can make whatever standards we
they
want.
opt into that. I mean, no, and Dan is 1,000% right, because I've already seen and heard of executives from the SEC already using that threat of, hey, we don't really need you guys. We can break off and do our own thing. And it sometimes it comes off a little tone deaf. Like, I think if there is going to be a break off, it can't be just the SEC. Like, it's got to be like the big draws, the big teams have to break off together.
Oh, everybody would follow the
SEC. Well, because the funny thing, there was a comment made recently by the president of Georgia, the president of UGA. Maybe they should work on their speeding issue over there, but they got they're thinking about football. They're not thinking about, their traffic citations. They're thinking football. And he made this comment like, oh yeah, maybe the SEC could break away. He talked about how much the TV ratings were for the SEC championship game last year. He's like, imagine if that had just been for the national championship. So he's talking about maybe the SEC champion will just be the national champion. They'll break off and do their own thing and pretend like the rest of college football doesn't exist. A little tone deaf, but they are already using that threat of breaking away from the NCAA.
If there's a playoff system and you're not a participant in it, you don't win a championship.
Yeah.
I come from the land of the 1AAs and now they call it FBS or FCS. I can't even remember what it is.
FBS.
Mm-hmm. FBS. If they've been doing it for 50 years, why is that wrong? And now you're going to create something that's right. And look how hard we had to fight just to get to this point where we've got 16 teams in a playoff system.
12 now, but yeah.
12 now, yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can just throw whatever number out there. It doesn't matter.
At 12 now. So if we go to 64, that means we'll just do 4 extra teams with buys, and then and we'll go from 12 to what? Or maybe a 16 team. I don't know how somebody's got to show me a bracket, like show me a bracket, a make-believe bracket.
I
to make
actually
this make sense.
I think there is a way to get to this 2014 playoff. At least for me, as far as football goes, I would like to see the end of conferences.
That ain't happening, big dog.
I think conferences. I definitely think conferences need to remain for the Olympic sports because it makes sense. I'd like to see them more geographically aligned, but I just don't like, to me. And again, the SEC could easily just say, all right, I'm taking our ball and going home here, and we're going to break away from everyone. The Big Ten could do that too, and they could take a handful of other schools with them and call it a day, right? Like that's certainly an option. We do need to work. We need to, if we're going to stick with these things, that we maybe change the names a little bit on these conferences. Like how many of the Big Ten has 18 teams? The Big 12 has 16.
Yeah, the Atlantic Coast Conference has teams for the Pacific.
Yeah, maybe they can add a P in there, like the APCC, like the Atlantic and Pacific Coast Conference. These things don't make any sense anymore. Nothing in college sports seems to make sense anymore,
for television networks and for coffers of money. That's where they make sense.
Exactly. So Miami will open up the season at Stanford at 9:00 at night. That's what we got for the opener.
I don't want to hear
I do pregame, so I'll be fine.
I'm gonna do postgame. That's gonna be like a 2 or 3 a.m. special.
See, nobody considers the postgame host when they're making these schedules. You know, it's all about the TV fat cats, Omar. It's never about like what are the Alex Donnos of the world gonna do when they got to go on the air at 2 a.m?
I might call it
2 to 4 there, Donno. Is that a 2 to 4?
Ah, man. It's probably like a 1 a.m. to 3 or a midnight to 3, something like that for 9 p.m. Yeah. I'm going to make Dan Day do it. I'm going to call him.
I'm all about it. I'm excited. I'm about to start making graphics for
like
it.
Dan Day actually sleeps.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe Dan should do that one.
He's a man of the night. Like I don't think you want to call him into action here. He'll do it. He will take you up on that. All right, we got to take a pause. We got a lot coming up today on the show. We're gonna have a fun one today. With Joe out, Omar is heading up the B team here this morning. He doesn't like to be called the B team. The B team has been brought into action here. Chris Perkins is going to join us in the 7:00 hour. Michelle Coffin from the Herald is going to join us in the 8:00 hour.
Give us that update on La Familia.
Yeah, man. We're going to have a showdown on Saturday. Messi and the Familia, the fans, are going to hopefully make peace on Saturday as Inter Miami plays. What a bizarre story, by the way. One of the more unusual stories that we've ever covered on this show. I can't really ever remember much of a fan group fighting a player incident like this.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had an incident like this, to be honest.
Not just a player. This is a superstar of sport.
Yeah.
He's
the biggest sports star in the world, arguably.
I feel like Donno is a good person. No. Hang on. Donno is a way better person to answer this than you or I, Omar.
Okay.
You cover the NFL. I don't watch a ton of soccer. I'm aware of Messi and his, GOAT status, but I do not watch a lot of international soccer. Donno is international soccer man. Messi is as big as we are making him out to be. Yes.
Maybe bigger. I mean, you think about soccer being by far the most watched sport in the entire world. And Messi, like in this generation, and Messi may arguably be the biggest ever. Like you could make that argument and it wouldn't sound ridiculous. But like in his generation, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are like the two biggest, global superstars. So I think Messi probably number one right now, because I would argue he's had an even slightly better career than Cristiano. I would call him the number one international sports superstar.
According to Instagram, Cristiano Ronaldo number 1, Messi number 2, and the rest of the world behind those two guys by a large
But that's
margin.
because Cristiano is more handsome. That's why he has more Instagram
I'm just saying,
followers.
like Khloe Kardashian, Taylor Swift, no, nowhere near.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I was thinking of a way to say that, Donno, but I think you worded that perfectly.
Who's the American athlete?
More people will subscribe to look at pictures of Cristiano. That's what that Instagram thing comes down
I think
to.
it's pretty safe to say he's a good-looking dude. Omar, what were you going to say?
Who is the American athlete that's bringing up the rear? Would
I
it
mean,
be
probably
LeBron?
LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, LeBron is probably still
Yeah.
still top dog going right
Yeah.
now. I mean, you
So-
look
Well,
at
because
because
basketball has become very global. Like it's not as
Yeah.
global as soccer, but it's getting pretty close behind that now.
Well, it's also happens to be, and Omar, you can touch on this too. Like the NBA is such a star-driven league. It is such a recognizable star-driven league. Like that's what makes their league popular, right? Is you have these, handful of 10, 15 major superstars. While the NFL has stars, it's not dependent on them, right? Like Tom Brady retires, the league moves on. Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. Okay, we move on. It's not dependent on those guys. Now, yes, they're massive stars, but it's just not like dependent on them. The league will move on. When LeBron James retires, there could be a little bit of a lull as far as who's the face of the league. Like there could be a little
Wemby
drop-off.
takes over. And
When Michael Jordan retired, remember when Michael Jordan retired? They thought the NBA was going to perish.
Yeah.
And it did for a little bit there. It had some lean years.
Yeah.
And the problem with LeBron also is like LeBron's obviously not retiring in his prime, right? Like if LeBron would have, won a championship and retired in his prime abruptly, you're like, all right, this is a little bit, this is going to be a tough blow for the league. I think LeBron's kind of dragging his retirement out. But the NFL, Omar, like we were talking about this the other day, the Dolphins don't have a lot of players you'd recognize if you walk past them in the mall.
I still make this argument, and I know you guys disagree. Are you telling me we don't have South Florida paparazzi? Because I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of Messi in South Florida off the field. Are you telling me picture of Messi in South Florida off the field?
He goes out to dinner. I saw a picture
Yeah,
of him
he's
the
at
other
Prima
night.
Pasta in my neighborhood, the
Yeah.
Publix. Remember when he was shopping with his kids?
That
and
was
his
when
wife?
that was like 3 years ago. Like
No, they have driving down commercial with his kids, taking him to school, drinking a
Yeah,
cup of
I
coffee.
saw that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
where do you
It's
want-
happening.
Omar,
You're
come on,
just not
man.
looking in the right places, Omar.
I guess I don't
Omar,
look
where do you
enough.
want pictures of this guy? Like, what do you think? He goes out like a normal person?
He was at the
Yes,
Aventura
I-
Mall. He and Luis
And that's the
Suarez.
thing. You maybe that's where I'm falling short. Like I saw him today. I saw him yesterday, early this week, at like his kids' youth MLS camp. But I don't see pictures of Messi anywhere.
Well, do you see the pictures of LeBron grocery shopping?
Technically,
I mean, I would
I
like
saw pictures of LeBron golfing yesterday. Video.
Yeah, at the Wynn, at a course that you and I can't afford to play at.
Speak for yourself, sir. I played at the Wynn. No,
Have you? I didn't even know you golf.
No, I don't.
I would say if you did, it was a comp job. All right, we got to take a pause here. We got a lot to get to here this morning.
You, the king of comp jobs, shouldn't be calling anybody out for comp jobs.
I am. That's the only way I'm probably going to end up playing the Wynn golf course is if and I don't get any comps in Vegas, Omar. I'm not a heavy hitter over there like you are. Although I shouldn't say that. I know you hate Vegas. All right, we do have to take a pause. We'll get caught up here. We'll talk to Perk in the 7 o'clock hour, Michelle Coffin in the 8 o'clock hour. Really happy to have everyone here with us on this Friday morning. Got a lot to get to here on QAM.
I do want to take a second to let you know, man, May is Mental Health Awareness
We're at FM 104.3, or you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Check it out now.
Welcome back in here on QAM. Hollywood, Donno, Dan Day with you. Omar's out there somewhere. We'll track him back down in a minute. Donno, you I don't know if we're supposed to share this or not, but you're getting ready to head out to the parks.
Yeah, going to Magic Kingdom today.
Right,
my kid just finished school. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a long, hot day. He admitted he's gonna get to us, I'm sure. Hopefully get a lot of rides in, but it's gonna be a very long day at the Donno house.
Are you a morning park person or an evening park person, or do you just go? Are you a whole day person?
If it was just to my preference, I'm more of a morning to afternoon. I like to get out of there before, because at the end of the night at Magic Kingdom, after they do the fireworks and everybody leaves at the same time, and you got to wait for the monorail or for the ferry boats, because they, instead of having the parking lot right there, you have to travel across that stupid lake. So yeah, I don't like to stay till the end of the evening, but I think that's the game plan for tonight.
Now, you are the person that I bank on when I go to those places, because I go late in the day, and I love walking in there and seeing the people like you who are just like on the border of just full blown heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
And you're stumbling out of that park, and that's when I like to arrive. Someone said Casey's Corner, you got to get the mini corn dogs. That's the hot dog place they have at on Main Street, USA.
Yeah,
right?
I co-sign on the mini corn dogs. Those are good.
I don't know about that. I've had a chili dog there. It was delightful. Those places stay open after the park closes.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the play, Donno. I'm telling you, man. I don't know what time. What do they close tonight? Like at 9 or 10 or something?
God, I don't even want. I think it's 10 or later. It's Memorial Day weekend now. It's gonna be a long night. I'm guessing at least 10.
So my oldest gets this or my youngest too now, I guess, gets this rush like they're in Vegas or something when we hit Disney, and they're able to stay up till all hours of the morning. So. We usually do that extended evening hours thing, and they'll stay out. They're good till 1, 2 in the morning. So the park will close at midnight. We'll go eat and do that on the way out there. So they're pretty good to roll there. Omar, I know that you recently did your first Disney experience. You're shaking your head. Did it go poorly?
It went expensively. And I just. I commend you folks for your Disney passes, annual passes, and go when you feel like it. I guess every minute you want to get in the car, you get to go. I'm not sure how many pictures I can enjoy or how many rides on. I don't even know. I'm sorry. It's
Before we get back to this discussion, is Donno frozen on your screen the same way he's frozen on mine? Oh, Jamie took him away. Donno was frozen in mid smile there with his eyes closed. It was actually pretty comical there.
It's just so.
It has gotten expensive, no question. It has gotten very, very expensive.
I'm not sure the general public realizes you got to pay $180 just to get in the door at Disney.
What do you mean the general public? Who is the general public?
The general public's the guy who doesn't have a 10-year-old or I had a 24-year-old. I don't remember it being that expensive
because it wasn't, Omar. I mean, it wasn't there's a lot of I was watching the other day, I think it was CNBC or something did a thing about how Disney has gone so much faster than inflation. And they even showed the food items. They showed the pretzel. The pretzel was $2. In 2016, it's $8 now, and they go, well, with inflation, it should be $4, and Disney just sucks. And hey, man, it's very expensive there. It is expensive everywhere now, unfortunately.
Yes, it is.
It's more expensive to fill your car up to get out there. It's just expensive. Everything has gotten more expensive, and that's just the sad reality of where we're at, I guess. But look, I'm going to Universal in the summer. That is expensive. Universal was the last time I went to Universal is when I was in college. right? And we had passes to all these places when I was in college. Like I had so I went to USF and we lived the school is directly across the street from Busch Gardens. I used to pay like $8 a month to be a member at Busch Gardens. Unlimited admission, parking. It was like everything was included. It was like $8 a month.
Oh yeah.
It was so cheap.
Totally forgot it's $40.
Disney. Pre-COVID, Disney used to be a relatively affordable experience for Florida residents. Like I had a pass for 300 something bucks a year and it was unlimited. And, it was a Florida resident pass and it blacked you out like during the week of Christmas or whatever, Thanksgiving, like times you didn't want to go in the first place. So yeah, but it was affordable. Now I have Donno. I told you yesterday, you and I were talking. I got the Universal pass. It's like $375 or something for the year.
Yeah, that one's not that bad.
Yeah,
Universal's
basically cost a 3-day ticket.
Yeah,
but then they destroy you with like if you don't want to wait in those lines, you got to buy those fast passes. Right. Now I got a nice deal at one of those hotels that gives it to you as a freebie.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
But man, so when you go today, and he was asking about the fast passes or whatever, are you going to purchase?
Yeah,
we that's going to run you about what you got. That's 30, 30 so that's $35, right?
$35 a head.
$35 a person. Yeah. So we already, my wife already did that because as soon as you have to purchase it like 3 or 4 days out, because then you got to pick your attractions, and so if you purchase the Lightning Lane too late, all the good stuff might be booked up already. So she had to handle that like 72 hours ago. So we've got that set for today.
Right. It's like buying a Disney pass is like buying a home. You got
right.
You gotta make sure your lease clears. You gotta
sign a closing document.
But you know what? Listen, man, I know I'm part of this problem. Hollywood's part of the problem because we enjoy Disney and our families enjoy it because we enable them. Because no matter how much more expensive they make the passes, the parks just keep getting more full. So it's like, my understanding, my limited understanding of economics with supply and demand is, if the prices were actually too high, then the parks would be getting emptier, not more full. But no matter how much they jack up the prices, more people show up. So we're enabling them.
Usually like to be part of the solution, Donno. I don't like to be part of the problem.
We're part of the problem.
By the way, this is the same deal with the NFL. The more we pay, the more they will stick it up our you-know-what.
Yeah.
Right? Why shouldn't
NBA
they?
too.
We talked about this the other day. Why shouldn't they? We have shown as NFL fans that while we're willing to complain, we are not willing to take action. Nope. We are not fans of action. We are all talk. We will sit here and complain all day long about how there's 8 different streaming services and it's bleeding us dry and it's too expensive, but yet we continue to do it. And they're not just going to voluntarily, like Roger Goodell is not going to get up to a podium at the owners' meetings and say, you know what, I think our product's getting a little expensive for the fans. Like we're gonna pump the brakes a little. We're gonna give back some of this TV money, and we're gonna lower the costs. And no, that's never going to happen. It's just going to continue to get more expensive until they see a significant drop off, which I can't imagine that they will. Look, Omar. The Dolphins have been bad or mediocre for 20 some odd years. 26. That stadium is still full.
It's not really
full enough. People are still spending a lot of money to go to those football games.
There are a lot of people buying tickets that are not showing up. I hear what you're saying. I think it's the TV ratings. I think it's the TV money. Because I say this all the time. I don't see why you would pay money to go sit at a stadium and watch an inferior product of the game because your TV product is so much better. But people are tradition and they want their tailgating. Yeah, I mean, there are literally people who just tailgate and leave to go home after the tailgate's over. Like what? And I know they do that for Canes games as well.
Absolutely.
It's just part of the sports culture. I hear the soccer, the European games, they have their own little sports culture and it's unique and it's,
Omar, to me, there's nothing like taking in a game live. And I am with you, by the way. I think TV has gotten fantastic. Sitting on my couch. I like to stay at home on Sundays and watch football, but that's primarily because I'm at the Canes games on Saturdays. So I don't feel the need to have a wall to wall weekend of sports. But I think like everyone, to be honest, like maybe 99% of the people that listen to our show, I could be off on this. I think everybody likes the experience of going to a game. It's something that you cannot rival from your couch. I have a massive TV that I put in my house. It was like the one thing that I wanted in my house. I said, listen, you can pick the house, you can pick where the neighborhood.
But I'm having a 75-inch surround sound in my living room.
And no. I told her 75 is way too small. This is a big ass TV, Omar. This is a big TV.
Oh, wait,
bro.
Are we talking 90?
No,
85?
You're in the hundreds?
So, I'm in the hundreds.
Really?
Now, I will tell you this. There is a cutoff on televisions right now. When you hit 100, you're in a very affordable range. It's not as crazy as you guys would think.
Huh.
When you go a little bit above 100, you start to get into card territory. So there's a cutoff. There is a cutoff. Now, this is not, I didn't buy the craziest TV in the market. This thing was not that expensive, but that was like my thing. I'm like, this is the only thing that I want for this home. And so that's what I got. Now,
bigger than my bathroom.
As nice as it was last night watching the Knicks game, like I did not feel like I was in Madison Square Garden. That atmosphere of Madison Square Garden is unrivaled. I need you seen that thing they have? I think it's in LA. It's like a half sphere, and they have their own cameras. Have you guys seen that thing?
No.
I'll have to send it to you. There's it's like a sports bar, it's like you're in a dome, and it basically makes you feel like you're there. But nothing rivals being at a game. I mean, it just doesn't, right? I mean, you got the fans around you and the atmosphere, and you could end up seeing something special. Like imagine being at game one for the Knicks, right? The Eastern Conference Finals. Imagine being at game one, and you're sitting there, and they have that 20-point comeback in the fourth quarter. Imagine seeing that in person. Could only imagine what that atmosphere was like. All right, we got to take a pause here. We got Alex Donno with us for about another hour. Omar Kelly is with us. Chris Perkins will join us. We got a lot of stuff. Michelle Kaufman is going to join us as well. Talk some Inter Miami with her. Find out how the fans and Messi plan to get along on Saturday. And we got a 3-day weekend around the corner. We'll take a pause. We'll be back after this on QAM.
Right now, I want to talk to you before we go to break about Michael Cotier.
Welcome back in here on WQAM. No, I did not forget the Knicks won last night. They beat the hell out of the Cavs. I thought the Cavs would win that game weirdly, and looked like they came to play, Donno. They showed up. Hollywood Donno, Dan Day along here with the Omar Kelly this morning as Joe is finishing up on the West Coast. He's we will, we don't need to hide where he is anymore now. He is out on the West Coast with his dad, and we thought it was enough driving out to I had to give him the old ultimatum yesterday. I had to be very stern with him. Listen, there's no one's work ethic I respect more than that man. I mean, he is a lunatic, but he was if you heard, if you were listening, he was sick before he left to go out there. He was dealing with the chest cold or whatever, and he's just I just told him yesterday, I said, Joe, you don't need to drive to wherever he's going. I think he's in Sacramento or something out there, and you don't need to drive out to Sacramento to do the show here on this Friday. So we'll bring the B team in, led by Omar Kelly, and we'll handle it for you. But now the Knicks get it done, and the Knicks look like they are in cruise control here to get to the NBA Finals. This game tonight is incredibly intriguing, man. This Spurs and Thunder series feels like the finals a little bit, right?
I hope it's the finals because I don't want to see the Knicks winning a championship.
Yeah, can the Knicks win one against one of those teams? They will be massive underdogs in a series against either one of those teams.
Yeah, but a lesser Pacers team last year pushed Oklahoma City to the brink.
That's
true.
That's true. That is true. They'll be massive underdogs nonetheless, but
here's why I like the Knicks and what they're doing. Obviously, I'm not a Knicks fan, but it shows you that there can be hope for this Miami Heat team if they can manage to get a deal done to bring in a superstar or find a superstar that'll sign here as a free agent. And I'm not sure that there are any available in the cycle of free agency.
Well, the Heat are the front runners to get Giannis, apparently.
Yeah. Supposedly, yeah.
We've been told that for how long now, but eventually we'll get it done.
Hold on. My homie Chad Ochocinco is saying his sources in the housing community is saying that Giannis is house shopping in South Florida. And if you know Ochocinco, his housing community sources are very
The thing is, wouldn't you do that anyway? Doesn't every athlete have a home here?
Yeah, one of the guys on the podcast kind of called him out and goes, so we're getting John Morant and Giannis because Ja just moved down here too.
Yeah, everyone in the NBA is looking for a house down here at the same time.
I mean, why not get John and Giannis? I mean, imagine the team that you could put together, and I think it's a pretty good team. Giannis and John, the same squad.
Except you and I would have to play for the league minimum, Omar.
I just
so did everybody else.
Omar is a.
We managed to get Bosh, LeBron, and D Wade to come here and play.
Omar Omar, you're a big strip club guy. I know that. And I feel like you just think John Morant would be fun to go with. I think that's why you want him in town. You feel like he's a hoot at the strip club, right? Isn't that where he had his gun incident?
Maybe I prefer to go to the gun range with Ja. You never know.
I mean, either way, you're well protected.
To the strip club. He brings the guns to the strip club, so you don't even need to worry. You can knock off both of your to-do list. Kill two birds with one stone there.
Listen, if Ja Morant, I know you keep poo-pooing my Ja Morant to Miami concept and idea here. But
great player.
Don't think that if the Miami Heat landed Ja at a discount, which that's what they're trying to do, if they were trying to do it, don't act like he wouldn't have a 24/7 bodyguard, babysitter, advisor hired by the Heat to walk him to the bathroom at every possible turn.
Exactly. Another person acts like the Heat are the only functional organization in the whole NBA. They're the only ones that have it figured out here. Omar, I gotta tell you, it's funny though. I do love when all of our South Florida personalities are all these I want to preface this by saying I'm not a Knicks fan, but Omar did that, and I just think that's funny. I've caught myself doing that. Look, it's okay. It's okay to be watch that game. To watch that game last night and be I really like Jalen Brunson. I like a lot of Josh Hart.
Josh Hart had a
OG
great game.
Anunoby. A lot of those guys are likable. Karl Anthony Towns. I don't want to get in trouble this morning. But my God, is he just the worst? But yeah, I enjoy watching that Knicks team. I love watching the Garden, rocking like that. Like there's just, to me, the Garden is my favorite, and I've been everywhere. I've not been everywhere, but to me, the Garden is my favorite experience that I've ever had in sport, in all of sports. Like, it is the best sports experience that I have ever had.
Duke for a basketball game. Best sports.
You've been to Duke for a basketball game?
Oh yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, that's on my list. That's on my list.
It's there's nothing like it. And maybe I need to go to see La Familia, because apparently they do like similar stuff. And
Omar, have you ever been to Lone Depot Park on a Wednesday at noon?
Oh gosh. I will tell you, Lone Depot Park for the World Baseball Classic. Now that's lit.
Hey, might be for the World Cup. I do have a confession for both of you guys. I bought 2, not 1, but 2 soccer jerseys yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, they're having them. They have them at Marshalls and TJ Maxx. Where South Florida's going all World Cup crazy. They had them in my size. I saw them, so they were like $18. I bought a Barcelona jersey. And then I think I bought a Portugal jersey.
Did they have player numbers and player names? Or
they did have a Messi jersey with the Messi number for our Argentine team.
Yeah, Argentina. Yeah,
but the jersey was kind of ugly, and I couldn't find any sneakers to wear with it, so I passed on it.
Okay.
I mean,
wait a second. Why are you buying these other countries? Are you planning on rooting for them? Do you just want to be festive? Like, what's the deal here?
If I'm gonna be honest, I kind of got some kicks that go with these sneakers.
That's what I figured. As soon as he mentioned the sneakers, I'm like, he's looking for whatever matches the kicks.
Thank you. I knew
Barcelona.
I knew Barcelona was a good team, so but the jerseys, I wish I would have had. There was a black jersey I had the opportunity to buy, but I didn't get it in my size. Beggars couldn't be choosers, so I had to pick.
Right. I mean, TJ Maxx, you have to kind of go with whatever's on the rack.
Well, yeah, and I felt lucky that they had my size. I had like 3 options for my size. 2 of them were in Barcelona, 1 yellow, one blue, and I was like, I thought about buying both, but I was like, I can't even name a player on the Barcelona team. But
I have this like weird Inter Miami like USA colored jersey, so that I break that thing out when it's
the pink Inter Miami jersey is real popular in the hood.
It's popular. I mean, in and out of the hood, it's popular. That jersey.
Everybody's rocking that pink. That pink Inter Miami MLS jersey.
I happen to like the black. The black with the pink is sweet. They've done a nice job with their uniforms over there. No question. Yes, Omar does shop at TJ Maxx. I love TJ. Who doesn't shop at TJ Maxx?
I
come on, that place is awesome.
I'm
more of a Marshalls guy.
I was going to say I'm more of a Marshalls loyalist.
Oh, hold on. TJ Maxx, it's the same thing. Number one,
it is.
Well, isn't it tiered, right? Their stores are tiered, right?
Is the elevated level.
TJ Maxx is the top tier. Then you got Marshalls, and then Ross Dress for Less is the bottom.
It's TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls.
No, it is
D&D
not.
discount. Absolutely, it is.
I don't know what D&D discount even is.
Exactly. So you can't even speak. It's
not
the same chain.
Ross is the bottom. D&D, that's owned by the same company.
Ross is not the bottom.
It's a big public company that owns like TJX, I think is the name of the public company.
Yeah, D&D is a part of the chain. It's the lower tier. They all have the exact same stuff in them.
Yeah.
It's just different tiers of the stuff. And what's really popping right now is Reeboks are all over those stores. I like Reeboks is trying to make a comeback. And so they got those shoes. I buy my daughter's shoes for school next year now, so that she's going to be sporting some Reeboks. So
what's frustrating, and by the way, Gregory is right. Burlington, I do like Burlington as well.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
And Home Goods is nice stuff for the house. What's frustrating, Omar? I feel like everything that I've been wearing for like the last 10 years or 20 years and everything, like I get a lot of crap for it. My buddies are like, you're always wearing cargo shorts or, you're wearing New Balance or Reeboks or whatever. Like now everything's just like coming back and it's like, it's cool again. And like, can I at least get a little credit for like sticking to my guns here with my fashion sense.
No, you
Nah.
just got lucky. Like you
Yeah,
got
thank you.
lucky
All
that
right, all right.
eventually your terrible fashion sense is going to come back into style.
He's
All
only
right,
waited 17 years for it to come back
Yeah.
in style,
Yeah.
and
All right.
he's hitting his peak now.
7 o'clock hour is next on QAM.
But right now, I want to talk to you about some other things, like some things
3733.
Doral Volkswagen, home of the price Cito, our lowest price. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or DoralVolkswagen.com. The Knicks took a 2-0 series lead over the Cavs, winning 109-93. Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals tonight, 8:30, as the series is tied at 1 between the Spurs and the Thunder. The Marlins are going to host the Mets tonight at 7:10. Yuri Perez gets the start. The Dolphins signed former Falcons running back Carlos Washington Jr. and practice squad tackle Marcus Cox. They waived tight end Jalen Connors and guard Brendan Daniels. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Storm season is coming. Make sure your home is ready. Get your free roof and window estimate today. Visit tornadoroofing.com. Today, going to be partly cloudy with temperatures in the mid-80s, but get it in because it's supposed to be rainy and overcast most of the weekend. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Welcome back in here on QAM. Happy Friday to everyone. Happy 3-day weekend Friday. Hollywood, Donno, Omar, Dan Day with you. Donno, we're going to be saying goodbye to you momentarily. We're going to send you off to the happiest and most expensive place on earth. We've gotten some people that have texted in about this, by the way, and watching games at home, or what do you prefer these days? Watching games at home, going to the games? I still think there's no substitute for going to a game. You can't really replicate that in your living room. With that being said, I do love watching at home. It's nothing like having the fridge, 10 feet from your couch, but I do like going to a game here and there still. Donno, where do you stand on this? Are you still a like to go to a game type of guy?
I mean, as a passionate sports fan, it's like I will never completely stop going to games, but I do think that the just how much better the TV experience is getting with the quality of the TVs and the quality of the broadcast, because sometimes for the big games, ESPN will have like 6 different broadcasts. If you think the commentators suck, you can find a different set of commentators or different camera angles and stuff. So I will say that the improvement of the TV product has given me less urgency to go to many games. So it's like you can never take that experience away. Like I'm never just going to say, I'm never going to go to a game live again. I'm still going to do it, but I'm going to feel less urgency to do it when the experience at home, quite frankly, is a lot less expensive and a lot more laid back and enjoyable in certain ways.
Well, you also get a much better perspective on the game, right? I know, being there again, you can't replicate that atmosphere at home, but sometimes when you're at these games, they don't show replays of controversial plays. A lot of them,
right.
You don't have you don't have replay. Sometimes you do on those screens, but at home, they got a replay, split second after the play. The broadcasts have gotten really good. They just have when these new networks aren't having streaming issues. Speaking of which, Donno, did you watch that Netflix thing? I know you're an MMA guy.
That was terrible.
What are we doing, man? What was that?
I mean, you got a 17-second main event with Rousey versus Crono, which, by the way, I knew that was going to happen. I wish I'd put more money on it, but I did wager on Rousey by submission.
It was minus 450 or something?
Yeah, but just by submission, it was like minus 200, which was more reasonable. If you like the method of victory, because that was like you saw that all day. Rousey is the armbar master. Yeah, she hasn't fought in a while, but Gina hasn't fought in like 15 years or something. It'd been a crazy amount of time. But that whole card was a bunch of quick endings, and I'm a huge fan of Nate Diaz, but he's been past his prime for like 5 years at this point, so he didn't hold up very well against Mike Perry. It was just a really bad card. I think they could do they could do better because their broadcast was pretty good, I thought, but the actual the whole thing it didn't come off. And there was a UFC event that same night, which was a lot better, as you did.
I mean, I would assume Netflix is usually known for putting on circus events.
Yeah.
Which by the way, I cannot stand these events that they put on. Like watching Jake Paul fight Anthony Joshua. What are we doing, man?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, Joe's like, oh, I just want to see the guy get killed. And it's like, yeah, he did. He got his,
He did,
got
yeah.
knocked out. But like, and the like the screwed up part of it is too, like they obviously they're going to dance around for a while because they can't have it end in 5 seconds.
Well, that's what Gina and Rousey should have done. Dance around for a round at least.
They probably should have. And now everyone comes out and they're trying to say if it was fixed or not. I don't know if it was fixed or not, Donno. Or was one person who's just much better than the other. But like,
I think that's what it was. The second one.
Netflix is going to have a black eye on their stuff ever since that Tyson thing that they put on. That thing was like, I mean, you want to talk about look staged. I mean, my God, man. Like that thing was terrible. And I like 100 million people apparently tuned in to watch that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have Netflix, a lot of people. And I'm kind of like, I feel like they don't have as much of like the great stuff. Is that like Netflix used to kind of have like a monopoly where like you had to have it. Now I'm starting to question whether or not I actually have to have it anymore. They lost their fastball a little bit.
Yeah, I like the stand-up comedy they throw on Netflix. I'll watch that.
That is true. They do have some good
movies on there every once in a while. But yeah, this boxing stuff, man, or the MMA. Like, what's the next big boxing match we have? Pacquiao Mayweather at the Sphere.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man? What are we? That thing sucked when it happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, and that was more. I think that was like. Was that more than 10 years ago, or was 10 years ago? But and that was it was already that fight was like 7 years too late when it happened a decade ago.
Yeah, it was. And I don't. Did you see the story, by the way, with Tyson Fury, with his 16-year-old daughter just married a 19-year-old wherever it is they live? Yeah, married. I know it's weird. He had to sign off on it. He had to sign off on it because it's like, I mean, I guess you have to give like a permission slip if you want your 16-year-old daughter to marry a guy who's over age.
That's creepy.
That's like a gypsy thing, though.
Yeah, it was creepy.
16 to 19 isn't a bad stretch.
But to get married, though? Like, married?
People get married at 15. I'm not saying it's a right. It's okay. But
do they? Who gets
in like biblical times, they did. Do they still?
Who's getting married at 15, man?
Oh, they still do.
First I'm hearing of this, but
no,
I just thought it was very bizarre, like a 16-year-old to marry a 19-year-old. Like it just seemed a little strange. And
if I were him, I wouldn't have signed the contract. I would have said, well, wait a couple of years. Like, what are you doing?
And apparently there was
married right now.
There was a fight at the wedding, and the cops had to be called. Like apparently there's a fight at the wedding too. So, very clownish behavior, man. A lot of clownish behavior going on out there.
I don't encourage anybody being married before 30.
No.
Okay. Omar says before 30. Wow. I don't even. How old was I when I got married? I'm late 20s, I guess.
Yeah, you don't.
I was 27. I was 27. Yeah.
I'll allow it 27, 28, but yeah.
Omar would sign my permission slip at 27.
Nah, I'd have to meet the wife first, but yeah.
All right. We're going to talk to Chris Perkins when we come back here. Donno is going to sail off into the sunset here and head out to the House of the Mouse. Donno, before you go, do you have anything coming up on the Locked on Canes network here that we can maybe tune into and during our long weekend here?
Yeah, so we're going to have a new episode that's going to be coming out while I'm waiting in line for the Tron coaster probably later. We are going to have an episode. We're kind of recapping a really crazy week. Like Miami has landed so many new recruits, blue chip players within the last week that I was even having trouble keeping track. They landed 2 guys. It was either Saturday or Sunday. They landed 2 recruits last night. A couple of 4-star players, linebacker A.J. Randall, offensive lineman Jatori Williams. So there's been a lot going on. We're kind of going to recap the heater that Mario Cristobal has been on, and we're going to talk a little bit about Greg McElroy made a comment yesterday. It's triggering some of the Ohio State fans, although I think it's a sensible point. His point was Malachi Toney is a better overall football player than Jeremiah Smith. Not saying he's a better receiver, but a better overall football player because all of what he does on that gridiron, and I know the Buckeye faithful, they get a little in their feelings about that.
Yeah, I see Omar's smirking already. I don't know. That's probably a tough call. Now Malachi may, I mean, he's young in his career, may get to that point, but I mean, Jeremiah Smith is like,
yeah.
I mean, he's going to be.
He's generational, but McElroy's point is Malachi Toney This guy runs for touchdowns, throws for touchdowns. He blocks his off,
Yeah,
even as
yeah.
a 5'11", 188-pounder. Like, it just as a wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith is a generational guy. Could go on to be one of the best ever, like, specifically for what he does. Whereas Malachi Toney, he was deputized as the quarterback in the state playoffs a couple years ago at American Heritage, and he led them to a state championship, threw 8 touchdowns to 1 interception in the state playoffs. Like, that dude can do everything.
You see what you've done, Donno? Now we're all going to have to listen to your podcast, and we're going to have to debate this thing. And anyway, Locked On Canes podcast is where you can find Donno. Before we let you run, Donno, do you wait extra time for the first row, like especially on Tron?
Nah, not for Tron. The only one, there's one ride for Thunder Mountain, we wait for the back row because that's the best ride in the back. And for Soarin' at Epcot, we're not going to Epcot today, of course, but we wait for the front row because that's the one that lifts you the highest up.
So I gotta give you my recommendation on this one. The first row on Tron, you gotta wait, man.
Yeah?
Wait the extra couple of rides and get in the first row of that thing.
Okay.
That's my favorite ride.
I mean, you do
there.
have the elite pass, the elitist pass, so it'll be all right.
It's basically you have it too. It's just we just keep Omar out of the loop on everything.
Yeah.
We want Omar to feel like he's just not wanted at Disney. He's not wanted around Coral Gables. Disney doesn't like him. Canes don't like him. Nobody likes you, Omar. You're on the outside looking in. The World Cup apparently likes you, though. Although you bought a jersey of a team that's not playing in the World Cup, I was told. All right, we got to take a pause. Chris Perkins is going to join us when we come back here on QAM.
I do know this. Your South Florida Chevy dealers
miss a thing.
Jane says, I'm done with Sergio. You treat me like a rat.
Welcome back in on this Friday morning here on WQAM. Hollywood, Omar Kelly, Dan Day along here with you. We're going to head out to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale. One location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. Toyota of Hollywood.com, where we are joined by our friend Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Perk, good morning. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming on with us again.
Fellas, thanks for having me. I'm sitting up here writing today's column about the Dolphins wide receivers. Don't expect much from them, but that's okay. This is almost by design.
So you mean they're trying to be notoriously bad and tank Malik Willis's career? Is that what you're saying, Perk?
No. What I'm saying is, and what I say in the column is, as Sully said, you can't fix every problem in one offseason. They chose to address quarterback and the trenches. So, yeah, defensive end, cornerback, and wide receiver are going to suffer, but you got to make choices, right? You can't fix it all. So they went quarterback, O-line, D-line. You make choices.
In what way did they go? They drafted 3 wide receivers. So how did they not fix it in one offseason? Let's start there. They're going to have some cap space. They could go out and they can go sign a Deebo Samuels if you can convince him to come be part of this team. They're not going to do that. Same reason they can sign Rasul Douglas. They're not going to do that. So, and I do believe Sullivan said that about the edge setting and the defense and the defensive line. Yet you're saying that they fixed the defensive line, which I call hogwash on, Perk.
They chose to address the trenches. We don't know if they fixed quarterback, right?
That was my next challenge, Chris Perk, because I'm not sure they fixed anything.
Well, they've addressed things, Omar. Like, look, first-time GM, first-time head coach. There's gonna be mistakes made. They had to make some choices. So you got Caden Proctor, and you did address the wide receiver position, but Caleb Douglas, okay, we'll see what it turns out to be. But Chris Bell, who is the receiver that I like, the 3rd-round pick from Louisville, I think this guy might be the steal of the draft. I know people talk about Kyle Lewis, the 4th-round linebacker from Pitt. I like Chris Bell. He's a grown man, but of course he's getting over that knee injury. So, I don't think that this isn't a situation where they drafted these wide receivers. And you know what? And I specifically asked Hafley Tuesday, you probably won't have a Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson type wide receiver 1. Is it okay to have 3 2s and a 3? And he got a little defiant. He said, I don't think you can make that statement. You don't know what our guys are going to be. And I was sitting there going, well,
I was going to say, Perk, you sound like Jeff Ireland on Hard Knocks, man.
Exactly.
You got 4s, 5s, and 6s.
I appreciate Hafley's attitude. He's right. Don't put a ceiling on his guys. But at the same time, I specifically said Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson to draw a distinction between elite wide receiver 1s and maybe a Devontae Parker, somebody who was called a wide receiver 1 because you have to have somebody that you throw the ball to more than anybody else. But I appreciate Hafley's attitude, but my whole thing is, just as you said, Omar, they did get Caleb Douglas, they did get Chris Bell, but this is still going to be one of the worst wide receiver crews in the NFL. It just is, and that's the way it goes. But again, I don't fault them for that. I don't view that as a shortcoming or a flaw in their plan. That's just the way it has to be this year.
Perk out here disrespecting Devontae Parker. That's the only reason I've won my fantasy football league one time, Perk, once in 20 years. And that's because Devontae Parker turned into the best receiver in the NFL for like half a season. Omar's rolling his eyes. Oh, you know, he was the best wide receiver for that little stretch. Whatever happened, I don't know, some light went off or something.
He did have one good season in his career.
No, half a season. It was like half a season. He like turned it on at some point. He's like, I'm gonna just be Randy Moss out here. Perk, I gotta ask you though, this whole leadership thing, it grinds Joe's gears. We heard Hafley essentially say, hey, let the leadership fall on me for a little bit here. Like, stop worrying about, the quarterback and the players. And it was kind of refreshing to hear a coach step up and take a little ownership.
Yeah, I like what he said there, and I like it because it specifically applied to Malik Willis and people saying, he's got to show leadership and he's got to take charge. And Hafley was like, look, forget all that mess. Go out there, play football, learn the offense. And I agree with Hafley from the standpoint that leadership is organic. You can't say you're the quarterback, you're the leader. You have to earn your teammates' respect. And so that's what Malik will do eventually if he's worthy of it. But you can't just, say, come in here and be our leader. You have to be a guy who is a leader. And so that's what Malik will get to prove as the offseason goes on. But right now, learn the offense, get everything down. I'll tell you what, also, when I talk about leadership and when I look at leadership, when I look for leadership, part of it is looking at these OTAs and seeing, who are the guys who are first in line? Who are the guys who have the most enthusiasm when they go about this? Who are the guys that you see counseling their teammates or picking everybody up and walking around with energy and that kind of stuff? None of that bias means that you're a leader, but it is a step toward being a leader. So that's one of the things that I looked for on Tuesday. It's one of the things I'll look for on Wednesday when we get to view OTAs.
Yeah, Perk, I loved Tuesday from the opportunity. It was my first chance to get to see Malik Willis throw in person. I have learned my lesson about evaluating quarterbacks without actually seeing them throw in person. I feel like I did the Dolphins fans a disservice, even though that was the COVID year. I remember when I first saw Tua's arm in person at a practice, I was like, what? That's it? But
it ends up you were right.
What do you mean I was right?
Well, you said that's it. Like he stinks. Like, yeah, you were right.
I'm going to hang my head in shame.
Those are fighting words, Omar.
No, I mean, you guys. I know he's the leader of the fan club, but he was right at the time.
I was not a leader of the fan club. I was a card-carrying member, sir.
You were ahead of your time, Omar.
But Perk, what were your impressions of Malik Willis's passing throw? I know the offense didn't look all sexy. They threw 3 interceptions, but what was your impression of Malik?
Liked his arm, very lively arm. That ball got there with purpose on a line with a tight spiral. Saw the 15-yard out. It was good. Saw the 30-yard pass down the field. It was good. And, what I've been saying this week is that what I liked about Malik is I didn't see him make the same mistake twice. You didn't see a lot of disarray. You didn't see a lot of uncertainty. So I think that's really good. Those are good things. So there was one play where he missed somebody badly, and I can't remember if it was a bad throw or if the receiver was in the wrong spot, but that was the only time you saw that on Tuesday. So I think that that's a positive. So, I'm not saying Malik is going to be a Pro Bowl player this year, but I saw on my day one of viewing him, and I expect that will continue to Wednesday. Our day 2 of viewing Malik, but I no complaints at all. I'm impressed by what I saw. But again, let's pump our brakes. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowl selection.
Let me ask you about this, Perk. Dolphin fans got in their feelings when I extrapolated his 6 starts out to 17 games, and then they said, "Wait a minute." That included his stinky seasons in Tennessee. Just factor in the Green Bay stats. And when I did that, I got 3,400 passing yards. I believe it was 900 rushing yards and 34 touchdowns for a 17-game season. If he comes anywhere close to that, despite the win and loss, will you look at him as a franchise quarterback?
I look at him as a good starting quarterback. Franchise quarterback takes so many things. You have to be able to make people better around you. And so numbers won't tell us that. His performance will tell us that. But, yeah, if he puts up those numbers, he's a good quality starting quarterback. Could he win you a playoff game? Again, I would need to see how he performed, how he did. Look, most of football is situational, right? How do you do in the fourth quarter? How do you do when, you're as a quarterback, your team is going to need you to make, 8 or 10 key plays per game. How does he do in those situations? But if he puts up those numbers you're talking about, they got themselves a good starting quarterback, a quality starting quarterback.
Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel here with us. Perk, I think Omar's got one more for you here, and then I got to get your take on some of these NBA games. I do appreciate your NBA knowledge, but Omar's got one more for you. Go ahead, Omar.
I wanted to ask you about Devon Achane. Obviously, he's not healthy enough right now. Looks to me like he put on a little bit of weight, Perk. I don't need you to chime in. I'll take.
Did you get any blowback for that? By the way, we were wondering. Did you get any blowback for that?
I don't care about blowback. My eyes work. I've been looking at professional athletes for 20 years. Perk, did he look like he was in Devon Achane shape?
He did, but he was wearing, the jersey, and he looked like he was in good shape to me. Maybe he might have put on 3 or 4 pounds, but I don't think he put on like 10 pounds or 12 pounds or anything like that.
Yeah. Anyway, with this offense,
I mean, what are we talking here? Does he look like James Harden? Like what are you seeing? What are you seeing out there?
I thought he looked fine. You thought he looked fine.
Did he look like he was in
shape? Omar had his scale
out. Like he was in shape.
He had his scale with him, apparently.
Yes, he did, Omar. Yes, he looked like he was in shape.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Definitively 100% yes.
Okay. Now that
do you have a follow up to that?
There is no Tyreek Hill. There is no Jalen Waddle. There is a mammoth left side of the offensive line, but he's going to face a lot of 8-man in the box. Do you think the expectation and the bar changes because the salary changes?
No. To me, most of this is on Hafley and Bobby Slowick. How do you choose to use Achane? You know his talent. You know his body. 191-pound running back in the NFL, your lifespan is not the Derrick Henry lifespan, right? It's limited, so you have to choose carefully how you use him, how many touches he gets. So the expectation for me doesn't change. We asked Achane last season what he expected, and he said, I always want to have 1,000 yards rushing and then maybe 500 yards receiving. Okay, that's fine. Last year it was 1,350 and 488 receiving, something like that. Yeah, that's kind of the neighborhood. Okay, that's kind of the neighborhood where he should live. So the numbers don't change. To me, it's on Slowick and Hafley. How do you use them? What situations? How many touches do you take off of him? How much do you use the tight end, Greg Dulcich? How much do you use the other receivers? How much do you use Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon, the backup running backs? You've got to preserve Devon Achane. His talent is there, but I don't know how long that talent is going to stay at this level. Again, 191-pound running backs in the NFL, you're probably not going to be around for, 8 strong years. You might have an 8-year career, but maybe 4 or 5 of them are top level and the others are kind of, hang on. So let's see how he's used, but the numbers stay the same. The expectations stay the same.
All right, Perk, you and I go back to our Heat days here covering those games. And so I know you're watching the NBA right now. What are your thoughts? The Knicks go up 2-0. The Cavs just they really blew it in game 1. I thought they had a pretty good chance to bounce back last night. It looked like they were going to be in that game, and the Knicks pull away late. The Cavs cooked.
I think they probably are. I mean, Spider looks like he's got the ankle injury. He didn't have any explosion last night. James Harden is kind of pulling the James Harden. It's like, dude, where are you? Where are you, offensively or defensively, in the big moments? You don't show up. So, yeah, I think, I don't know if the Cavs are going to get swept. They're a pretty resilient team, but I think that the Knicks will win the series. They're the better team. They have a lot of answers. Josh Hart came back to life last night, and you know what Jalen Brunson can do. They got Bridges, they got Cat. It's a good, solid, deep team. I don't think they can beat whoever comes out of the West, but I think they're establishing themselves as the best team in the East right now. And I like Mike Brown, the coach. You know, he goes way back to the Cleveland days with LeBron, a defensive coach who is excelling in the 3-point era. I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about that Knicks team, unfortunately, Perk. Everyone starts off by saying, I'm not a Knicks fan, but no, there's a lot to like about that team. I'll tell you, this game tonight out West, that series is fascinating. Watching Wembanyama play is fascinating. What do you think? How does this thing end up going here? We're tied at 1, heading to San Antonio.
Man, well, let me tell you, y'all know that I'm from San Antonio. So my sister and her husband called me a few nights ago, and they asked what I thought of the series. I said, I'm going to give the nod to the defending champs, knowing that San Antonio beat them 4 out of 5 times in the regular season, but the playoffs are different, and the Spurs need more playoff seasoning. The 4-letter words that came out of their mouths, man, I can't even tell you what they told me and what they called me. So there's a lot of pressure on me right now to be a Spurs fan, but I'm still going with the defending champ. Look, Wemby we've never seen anything like Wemby, right? As far as the height and the handle and the 3-point shooting and the defense, like, we've seen guys dominate in different ways. Wilt did it one way. Kobe did it one way. LeBron, Shaq, Dwayne Wade. But we've never seen this combination of skills with anybody. Having said that, OKC, man, they're just so deep. They're so deep. Hartenstein gave Wemby a little problem. So did Wemby's left wrist. But I'm expecting OKC to win this series, but man, what a series. What a game 1. I mean, incredible playoff game, double overtime. So I'm expecting this to be, like most people, that this is the actual NBA championship, this Western Conference final.
Yeah, it sure feels that way. You know, Wemby is interesting, Perk. There's a player, that'll come around once every, 5-10 years or whatever that changes the way the game is played, right? And we saw with LeBron and, he would guard the 1 through 5. And then we saw with Steph Curry where he's shooting, anything inside a half court was in his range. And I think we're going to see another player in Wemby who's going to change the way the game is played. And you may, if you're a team out West, especially, you may need to start, drafting, bringing in guys just to deal with him for the next 10 years.
Yeah, you're going to have like some designated fouls to use against Wemby, right? Because this dude is going to kill you. I just don't know what the best way is to defend him at this point, but he can kill you on both ends of the court. That's the thing, that he's such a complete player at this early stage of his career. So we'll see if he can lead his team to great things. I have a feeling that he can. Maybe not necessarily this year, but I see rings in that man's future because he's that good. I mean, again, we just haven't seen anybody that size with that skill set at both ends of the court. So, yeah, how you defend that dude in future years, I have no idea. Right now, I just think you just have to run multiple defenders at him.
Mm-hmm. Well, Perk, we're going to be certainly watching tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time with us this morning. Have a great 3-day weekend. All right, my friend?
Oh, yeah, I'm planning it, man. I'm planning on having a good time Monday, man. Hope you all do too.
All right. Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel, always kind enough to join us here on QAM. We are going to take a quick pause. We'll get all caught up. Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald is going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll get her thoughts on this Inter-Miami match coming up this weekend. How's that going to look? That'll be interesting to get her perspective on. We'll find out when we come back on QAM.
Do want to take a moment to tell you about Loctite.
to 87th Avenue, and also that traffic really stacking up along the Don Shula Expressway northbound. You're slow from Killian Parkway to Snapper Creek Expressway. And just a reminder, construction slowing you down along Florida's Turnpike and northbound. That ramp to Okeechobee Road remains closed. That's traffic. I'm Malia Escobar on FM 1043, and you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey iHeartRadio and tune in now.
We've made it easy to find us. Listen to WQAM on FM 1043 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Wow, that was so easy.
All of our shows are there live or on demand. Plus, there's the cool rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed. Anytime.
You're listening to The Joe Rose Show. This hour is brought to you by Baptist Health.
Welcome back in here on QAM. Let me get all caught up here. We ran a little late with Perk. Dan, I got to tell you some good news yesterday. Officially booked for the ACC media kickoff in July. So we're going back. We are going back. I am booked. We are all set. We'll be going to Charlotte. And how about that, man? It's always a good sign when you start getting the preps going for football season. So we are going to be there. We are looking forward to that as usual. So that is good news there. The other good news, Dan, is we got a 3-day weekend here. I will be at the Air and Sea Show tomorrow in Miami Beach, the Hyundai Air and Sea Show, and you will be here in studio with Vlad, and I will call in, and as we do each and every year around this time, now I feel like we'll have to talk about the Knicks with Vlad, and he is a diehard Knicks fan, and he probably has them in the finals. He may be right at this point. I don't know that the Cavs are going to bounce back from this one. It'll be tough to win 4 or 5. It's going to be tough.
Let's focus on the Air and Sea Show tomorrow.
Yeah.
It always sounds so awesome, man. I hear the planes flying over. It's like you can't even make up those sounds when you're calling in sometimes. You can't even talk. It's so loud and so fun. It's just,
I know.
I love it.
So, so that's where we'll be tomorrow. Looking forward to that. If you'd like, come out and say hello. They got a lot of stuff going on out there. USASalute.com. You can check out everything that is going on over the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday out there on Miami Beach. We are going to take a quick pause here, get caught up. Michelle Coffin from the Miami Herald is going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour with Inter Miami in town this weekend. The 8 o'clock hour is coming up next on QAM.
Tell you what is not new here in town. If you know about Chill Zone,
drink specials, and free parking. Stay tuned for schedules, special events, and more announcements coming soon. Visit us at CasinoDaniaBeach.com.
This is the legendary WQAM FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. WQAM Miami, an Odyssey sports station. The home of Joe Rose with Hollywood, Tobin and Leroy, and Hot Crowder and Solana. South Florida sports lives here.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit us, Doral Volkswagen or DoralVolkswagen.com. The Knicks took a 2-0 series lead over the Cavs. Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals tonight at 8:30. The series tied at 1 between the Spurs and the Thunder. The Marlins, they host the Mets tonight at 7:10. The Montreal Canadiens took a 1-0 series lead over the Carolina Hurricanes last night. Tonight at 8, Golden Knights, Colorado Avalanche with Vegas up 1-0. Canes baseball team, they have semifinal action at the ACC tournament against Georgia Tech tomorrow at 1. And Inter Miami will face the Philadelphia Union Sunday at 7. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Storm season is coming. Make sure your home is ready. Get your free roof and window estimate today. Visit tornadoroofing.com. Temperatures in the mid to high 80s with clouds throughout the day. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Happy Friday. Welcome back in here on WQAM. Hollywood, Dan Day along here with you. Omar will be back with us in a few minutes from now. Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald will join us as well. Dan, how about this? This just popped across the old news desk here. 29 years ago today, the Bulls beat the Heat 75-68, and the two combined to break a record that has stood for 42 years. Do you know what that record would be?
Lowest score combined in a playoff game?
Winner. You win Final Jeopardy, Dan. And there's a picture of MJ going around Alonzo Mourning for a layup here. My God, man. 75-68. And everyone's like, oh, I missed the old NBA.
Halftime.
Yeah, 75. Yes, so right. 75-68 is a halftime score now. Man, that is crazy though. That is pretty cool.
That was back in the hand checking days. You could hand check people.
Yeah,
those are good days.
Hey man, listen, I understand why people are upset about the product right now that we're watching. There is way too much of this flailing crap going on. Karl Anthony Towns is a major offender. They showed a slow-mo of him driving to the basket last night. I don't know if you saw this one, Dan. So he keeps lunging back and forth, right, to try to flail, and he's making this ridiculous face like he's like giving birth or whatever. Like he's just so embarrassing. And then James Harden is probably the worst of all of them because James Harden barely move anymore. And he just, he puts his shoulder down. He'll bump into a guy and he'll shoot backwards. And it's just, it does. I get it. Some of that stuff is very tough to watch. But that being said, I do enjoy watching the game still and the style, with the 3-point shooting. It's very skilled. And I think tonight's game is going to be fantastic. I really do. I am really loving this Spurs and Thunder series. I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this game tonight. If anybody out there has any thoughts, I'd like to open up the Hard Rock app tonight and do something. But it's just essentially, I guess it's a coin flip, right? I mean, the Thunder. We were talking to Perk earlier. The Thunder are the seasoned vet team out of these two, and the Spurs don't have the experience, but how much does that really matter anymore? I know a lot of people like to say experience really matters in these situations, but we'll see. We'll see. That should be interesting. One other thing that popped across the news desk here, Dan, that I found amusing. So first of all, Urban Meyer's been in the news a couple of days in a row here. He lost his little lawsuit with the Jaguars. So he's not going to get his $30 million. He fired after 13 games in one of the weirdest coaching stints you'll ever see. Doesn't take the flight back with the team, ends up at a bar with a girl. I'm just a very weird whole ordeal there. And then this one pops up. Urban Meyer says he has lost respect for Michigan. What's gone on the last 4 or 5 years? I lost a little respect. Really?
Is he the guy to be handing out respect cards?
That's kind of what I thought. I thought what he did at Ohio State was one of the most despicable grotesque things you'll ever see a grown up, a man do. It was just gross what he did at Ohio State. So for him to be saying that he's losing respect, come on, bro. Someone may want to get this guy a mirror. Like I'm Joe this morning. You got to look at the man in the mirror here. Like, come on, Herb. Come on, buddy. You lost respect for Michigan? How many people out there respect Herb at this moment? All the stuff that he's been involved in. My goodness, man. A few texts coming in here, 305-567-0560. We also have our YouTube chat up at 1043 WQAM. SGA takes the prize also. Yeah, I know. SGA's a little bit of a flailer.
I thought he got away with a lot the other night. He was using arm bars left and right to get open, and they weren't calling anything.
Yep. Please don't. He said LeBron Harden all the same. Please don't put LeBron in this category. I know LeBron will complain. I get you. But LeBron has taken a beating throughout his 40-year NFL career. He has taken his fair share of punishment. So I wouldn't put LeBron in that category. Like if you've watched LeBron throughout his career, he is a very physical player. I think, to me, Dan, I was thinking about this last night watching the game. Maybe the solution is they just need to, how the NHL they ratchet up the physicality in the playoffs, right? And the officials kind of follow along with that, right? The refs in hockey, there's so much more that you get away with in the playoffs, right? They're basically, in the playoffs in hockey, it feels like they don't want to call penalties, right? You don't want to insert yourself into the game. Maybe the NBA should kind of follow suit a little bit and let's stop that. There was a play last night in that game where Donovan Mitchell reaches out and blocks a 3-point shot. They blow the whistle, they call a foul, and immediately they didn't even need to look at the replay on the bench. They challenged it, right? And you look at the replay and go, how did they think that this was a foul?
Was that the one where the announcers were even going, that's going to be recalled?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. The guy basically, he stuck out his hand and clipped the ball as the guy was going up. And I just at some point, though, we need to stop rewarding this stuff with fouls and just make it so hey, we're not going to call foul unless it's a real, a hard foul. We're going to play playoff basketball. And I'm not saying you need to, muck it up like it's the 90s. This guy said wouldn't survive in 90s basketball. I don't know. I know the games were played rougher, but I don't know that the players were necessarily tougher, if that makes any sense. I think the players nowadays, you have some very skilled players that I think are very capable of being physical, right? It's just not allowed anymore. The way that the game is, you can't press a guy going up the floor. If you touch him, he's going to flail. They're going to call the foul. I mean, how many times have we seen James Harden bring the ball up the floor and they're trying to pressure him and he does that flail thing and they give him a call? So maybe the answer is, Dan, just to let more stuff go and say, you want to complain? Great. We're going to tee you up right away and just not allow this crap anymore. Because between the complaining and the flailing, the officials they got a tough job. They got a tough job, man.
Nonstop.
It really is. We're going to have Michelle Coffin. Speaking of nonstop, she's going to join us when we come back here. And we're going to get into this Inter Miami situation. And we're going to see what's what here heading into Sunday's match. Inter Miami will be back in action. Messi and La Familia. Who will break first, Dan? Who will break? Or did they reach an agreement? We shall find out. Michelle Coffin will join us when we come back on QAM.
I do want to talk about a couple guys that I'm pretty crazy about because
Escobar on FM 104.3, and you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
We've got plenty of ways for you to listen to your favorite shows and favorite teams on WQAM.
How is that, if I may ask?
We're at FM 104.3, or you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Check it out now.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. No matter how hard you try.
Welcome back in on WQAM. It is Friday, and we have a 3-day weekend ahead of us. And we got a soccer match coming up on Sunday. That brings us back to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Omar's colleague from the Miami Herald, Michelle Kaufman, is with us again here. Michelle, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it.
Wow, twice in a week. I am honored. I'm definitely honored.
Well, we are very happy to have you once again, and we are following a story. Michelle, this is one of the more unusual stories. I've been doing this for a long time. I know you and Omar have as well. This is one of the strangest stories I can ever remember, where you have a large group of fans in a spat with a megastar here. Like, this is before we get into the details, a very unusual story, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really unusual. The most diehard fans of this Messi FC team, they're annoyed at Messi, and not just Messi, but the whole team. But he's kind of, the team goes as he goes, and the rest of the players follow his lead. That's how it is in every locker room. So whatever the sort of the culture is, it's always set by the leaders of the clubhouse or of the locker room. And in this case, there's no bigger leader than Lionel Messi. So whatever he does, the rest of them do. So if he doesn't go salute the fans after the game, then, the other guys are not going to defy him and go salute the fans, even though, they did actually last week. A bunch of the players did go over when he went into the locker room and ignored one section of fans. He did wave at all the other three, the West stands, the South stands, the East stands, but did not wave at the North stands, which is where La Familia, it's a family. It's supposed to be a family, but there's been a family spat going on. But there have been developments. There have been developments this week.
Before we get into the developments, for those who have not been following the story and those who are not accustomed to soccer culture, can you explain this to people as, let's say that they're in the 5th grade? Make this make sense to the casuals, because I have not been to an Inter Miami game. I have not attended a soccer game, so I don't know what the atmosphere is supposed to be like.
But you are a soccer fan now, because he got a couple of soccer jerseys at Marshall's, so he considers himself a soccer fan
jerseys
now.
at Marshall's yesterday, Michelle.
The World Cup is coming. Converting you, Omar. We're converting you. You are, by the end of this World Cup, you're going to be in La Familia. You're going to be sitting in that North stand. No. The soccer culture, one of the reasons that, I've been covering sports for 40 years, and I've covered every sport, and I love all sports. They're all different. They all have their own subculture, their own lingo, their own everything. The thing I love about soccer is the fan culture, the passion that soccer fans have for their club or their nation, their national team, is just, it's unrivaled. I'm sorry, in any other sport. There are some exceptions in college sports, I would say, but nothing in professional sports where people are just so incredibly passionate about their team. And so in soccer, there are supporter groups. So there are regular fans who buy tickets and go watch games like normal people. And then there are supporters, and the supporter groups are the ones who, they make giant special banners for every game. They bring drums. They bring other musical instruments. They make specific chants for specific opponents. And I mentioned it last time. I equated a little, and I say this on, my daughter went to Duke, so I can say, yes, the Cameron Crazies, that kind of thing, where they're making, different chants for all the opponents, and they come fully ready, and they bring the atmosphere. They bring the atmosphere to the rest of the stadium. So anyway, in soccer culture, the tradition is that they have these supporter groups. They're called ultras. They're called super supporters, whatever you want to call them. they sit in one designated area of the stadium, so they're not just scattered all over the place. They're sitting in one area, maybe like the dog pound in Cleveland or something like that. So they sit in one area. They sing the entire, I'm talking about from the opening whistle to the closing whistle. They do not stop. They do not stop. You do not need noise meters at soccer matches because they are your noise meter. They you know, their energy is infectious. So usually what happens is after a soccer game all around the world, the team typically gives a nod to those fans after the game. Win, lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw. Most of the team, and often all of the team, they kind of walk over toward that section and give a clap above the head or give a little wave, like, thank you, you know, thank you for your undying devotion to us. We really appreciate what you do. So anyway, that's the culture. This group in Miami, the La Familia group, they felt that since they started, well, they have sort of felt this all along, maybe since Messi got here, but definitely in the first four games at the new stadium, they felt that the team was not appreciating them enough because they were not getting waves. Messi was frustrated after games because they had 3 ties and a loss in their new stadium. They had not won yet. And so he basically stormed off the field, you know, very quickly. He was like the first one to the tunnel and out. And then the other guys, like I said, they kind of follow suit. So there wasn't an appreciation nod or wave. So anyway, they decided the last game they were going on a silent strike. Yes, they staged a protest, a silent protest. And for 85 minutes of the game, it was eerily silent in there. It was so strange to watch a match where it was pretty much quiet. And those guys they were there, but they were quiet. They brought no banners. They brought no drums. They brought no noise. Then in the 85th minute, I'm just going to do a quick recap for those who haven't been following it. In the final 5 minutes, all of a sudden they started chanting. But it was a chant that turned out to be really, my opinion and the opinion of a lot of people, a huge mistake, because they did it to a melody of an Argentine chant that is a derogatory chant that fans in Argentina, when they feel that their team is not playing well, is not playing hard, is not giving their all, they do this chant, which is basically, I will say the G-rated version, grow some eggs. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, right? Grow some eggs and play harder because you're sucking right now, basically.
But
so
wasn't that one of the better games Messi had?
Oh, they had an amazing game, but they changed the lyrics. They changed the lyrics, but they used that melody that all the Argentine people know what that melody is. They didn't chant that chant. They chanted, no, the team was winning 2-0 and Messi had an incredible game. The chant that they changed the lyrics to say, it's called the jugadores chant, players. It's like they're pleading to the players, jugadores. So what they said was they changed the lyrics to say, players, salute your fans, acknowledge your fans. We don't ask for anything else. That's what they were chanting. Those are the words that they were chanting, but the melody was the melody of that derogatory chant. So Lionel Messi, our Carl Just, fantastic photographer, got a great photo. There are photos of Messi standing in the middle of the field. The game is actually going on at this point. He's standing in the middle of the field with his hands on his hips, looking up at La Familia, squinting his eyes, and you can tell he's almost confused or trying to figure out what the hell, why are they chanting this derogatory chant, when we're about to win the game? And, it looked like he didn't get it. It looked like it was lost in translation. Let me say that he heard the melody. He knows that melody very well. So does everybody who follows international soccer and South American soccer. Everyone knows that melody. So they hear that melody and they think that they're dissing them. So Messi actually did a little finger wave at them like, no, no, no. And then after the match, when the final whistle blows, he goes and salutes all the other sections of the building and walks off the field without saluting La Familia. So that is a recap of what happened.
And
Now,
the video caught him telling his teammates, "Let's go."
yes, there was a video of him telling his teammates, let's go. Like, do not go over there. Just go. Let's go to the locker room. Now, what happened is some followed him, Rodrigo DePaul, Luis Suarez, the guys that are really close with him. About half the team, the younger guys and the newcomers and stuff, they did go and walked over and gave the obligatory wave nod to the fans. Now, what happened next is that there really was, honestly, I really feel like I understand their sentiment and all that. I think it really backfired because, A, the team won without their noise. They finally won their first game in the new stadium when they were staging their protest. So that was not great, okay? Number two, the backlash against La Familia has been really loud because a lot of people are just saying, grow up. You know, they don't owe you anything. They're playing the game. They won the game. You are so lucky to have Lionel Messi on your team. Would you prefer that Lionel Messi go play somewhere else and you have some nice guys who are going to come over and wave at you and, you know, invite you to their birthday party or something? You know, there's been a lot of mocking of La Familia saying, you know, that they're really being childish and that this is ridiculous and that the team, that they're lucky to have Messi and that they should not piss off Messi because if you make him mad, we may lose him. And then are you going to be happy if he goes to another team? So,
okay. Michelle, let me ask you this just to first before we get to the meeting here between the two sides. Did they know what they were doing with that chant? Like, did they know that they were going to antagonize Messi with doing the chant to that melody? Like, are they aware of what they were doing?
I don't think so. I think it was a mistake. I think it was a bad choice of melody. I think the chant itself is fine. It's just like wave at us, whatever. But, you know, I will say, and then I'll tell you about the meeting. They did have a meeting with management and things seem to be, I think they have, you know, made up. But what I would say is also that one other reason that I think that this type of protest is kind of, I don't know, makes me cringe a little bit is that this is like when, you know, you have a relative who says, you never call. And then you call out of obligation or, you know, you don't get invited to a party and you complain. And then, and then the host says, okay, you can come to the party. I mean, is that really what they want? Do they really want the team to wave at them because they were told to, because they were told that they must wave? Players, you must now wave at your fans. Otherwise, they're going to stage a you must now wave at your fans. That's not really the love that you want. You know what I mean? It should be organic. This should be something that they feel in their hearts, and that's why they want to go over and wave at the fans. It shouldn't be because the club now has made a directive that they must do, the players must do X, Y, and Z to placate the fans. So I don't know. I just think overall it was not a great idea. They did get the attention of the entire world and of the club, but I'm not sure it was a great thing. And I think it's going to take some time to heal this wound. As far as the update is that they met on Wednesday. Wednesday night, there was a meeting between club leadership and the players. They were told that they were not allowed to speak to them. No one, as far as I know, no one's revealed any details of what was said in the message in the meeting or what exactly is going to happen going forward. What I heard from the people that I know who are in La Familia, which is, I called multiple people, they all had the same message for me, which was, it was a positive meeting. It was a productive meeting. Things are going to be positive going forward. We will be back on, full on this Sunday for the game against Philadelphia. They will be loud. They will bring their banners. They will bring their drums. I don't know what the club promised them. You know, I would think maybe they were promised maybe like a meet and greet with the team, or maybe they could come to a training session, or I don't know. I'm assuming that there was some kind of token, you know, something given to them and that they had positive conversations. I don't know exactly. I still think it's kind of weird that now if Messi goes and waves at them, you know, I will be wondering, well, is he really does he really appreciate these fans, or he's just doing that because he's been told he has to do it now?
Now, Michelle, I got two questions for you on this, because I'm a novice. I'm just learning. I follow this through you. Follow this through your Inter Miami podcast. You should give that a plug, by the way.
Thank you.
One, does Messi acknowledge them in past games? Does he acknowledge them on a regular basis? Does he acknowledge the fans on a regular basis? Is this about Messi, or is this about the team? And then also, I'm trying to find out, because I heard this and it puzzled me. They won the MLS championship, but they never celebrated as a team, as a city. We never celebrated as a city. How does that make sense?
That does not. Well, two excellent questions, Omar. That's why you are Omar. Two questions. Okay, the celebration. No, there's never been a pep rally. There's never been a parade. You know how the other teams, they have parades. They have some kind of celebration where you invite all the fans to come, whatever. No, they did not. At the time, they said, we assumed when they won the championship, we're like, okay, when's the parade? They said, well, there's not going to be a parade because all of the players, it was a long season. The season started in February and it ended in December. So, and training camp opened January 10th. So they had exactly 1 month of an off season. As soon as the season ended, all of those players bolted and went back to their countries of origin. So they're not all in the United States. It's a little, they're farther away than American athletes. They all decided as soon as that game ended, I mean, I'm talking the next day, like the game was on a Saturday, on Sunday, they and their families were on flights back to Argentina, back to Uruguay, back to wherever they were from. So they said, we're not going to do the parade now. We're going to do something. And we were promised, the media relations people told us that as soon as the new stadium opens, that they were going to do, we all thought that it was going to be before, like sort of as a grand opening of the stadium, you would think, right?
Yes.
For the grand opening of the stadium, they should have had some kind of parade around the stadium or some kind of big pep rally at the stadium. Now, what complicated that is that the stadium really was not completed on opening day. It was a miracle that they even were able to sort of get permits enough to even host that game, because honestly, it's still not ready. I mean, there's still sawdust everywhere. Everywhere around the building itself is there, and it's lovely and it's beautiful. But the parking lot and everything surrounding is not done. There are giant cranes and bulldozers and piles of dirt and stuff everywhere. So I think what has happened in defense of the club is that they want to, at this point, it's too late. I don't know. At this point, it's already May. How are we going to have a celebration now to celebrate last year's championship? It
Ring
doesn't
ceremony.
make sense.
Ring ceremony.
No, I think that ship has sailed once you're this point into the whole
so
thing.
It's so far into the year. It's weird, but it is weird. So yes, you are correct that there has never been, not even any kind of public celebration of them winning the championship of their league. There has never been any celebration for fans to celebrate with them the winning of their league, other than the people who happen to be in the stadium that day. So that's A. B, the other question was, does Messi normally salute the fans? He does. He does. I wouldn't say every game. Sometimes it's just a little, like as he's walking to the locker room, he may look up in that direction and put his hand up a little bit. And you know what? That's all they want. That's enough for them. This is Messi. We're talking about, he's a deity. He's like, people worship him. Any acknowledgement that he even knows that you exist is considered a great compliment, So he does typically do some kind of look over at them and raise his hand up a little bit normally. I will say this year, those 4 games, he was really, really angry. And so angry, here's what I'll say about him. He is ultra, ultra, ultra competitive in the way people talked about, Michael Jordan, the way the guy he hates to lose, and he gets very grumpy. Everyone thinks he's just this little kind of nebbishy guy who's running around, and he's incredibly talented and incredibly skilled. but he has kind of a passive, quiet personality. No, not at all. Totally on the contrary. And in fact, the coach, Javier Mascherano, quit after 7 games for personal reasons. There was friction. And the friction starts with Messi. Messi is very, very, very competitive, and he does not like to lose or even tie. So they built this $350 million palace stadium that they were so excited to open. And everyone was saying what a shame it was that they had to play the first 5 games on the road while they complete the stadium. Wait till they get to their new home stadium. And they got there, and they had 3 ties in a row, and Javier Mascherano ends up leaving at that point. And then they have an absolutely embarrassing, humiliating loss where they were winning 3-0 to Orlando City, their arch rival. They're winning 3-0, and they end up giving up 4 unanswered goals, and they lose 4-3. Messi could not have run faster off that field into the tunnel. So he did not wave at the fans for any of those 4 games. And that was a complaint that the team, not just him, the team did not do the communal salute after those 4 games, but they also, in their defense a little bit, they were pissed off that they were in the new building. The owners were so excited about the new building, and they were not delivering. So I think that everything's going to be fine in this family, in this familia. I think they're going to get along and everything's going to be fine, but it's been a very, very interesting week.
There's always fighting amongst families, Michelle. Thank you for the time. It's great to have you, and great insight on a truly bizarre and fascinating story at KAUF Sports, KAUF Sports. You can follow Michelle's work. We'll certainly be tuning in to see what you got this weekend, Michelle. It should be very interesting to see on Sunday. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Wow. What a story. What a fascinating story here. And I know, Omar, we'll be watching this thing over the weekend to see. We'll see if the family gets along, man. Hey, you know what? Always dysfunction amongst families. We got to take a pause. More to come on QAM.
I do know this. Your South Florida Chevy dealers have never looked better.
for it.
And it's a protege.
Welcome back in on this beautiful Friday morning. It is a 3-day weekend upon us here, and we roll on here. Mike Florio will join us in the 9 o'clock hour on a Friday, as he always does. I almost called it a football Friday, Dan. It'll be a football Friday when Florio stops by. Hollywood Dan Day along here with you. Omar Kelly is with us as well. Dan, I always like to know what you got going on. I like to live through you a little bit on the weekends because you tend to have a little more fun than I do. What do you have going on this weekend? Any big plans for you on this 3-day weekend?
I mean, not as big as you. You got the Air and Sea show tomorrow.
I do. I have the Hyundai Air and Sea show, Miami Beach tomorrow. I will be calling in to you and Vlad, who will be in studio. But anything else? You have any events this weekend?
You know, I'm always
very busy.
Always Duffy's in Plantation. Tonight's going to be a great one because we're going to have music. We're going to have people dancing, whether there's a dance floor or not. We're going to be watching the Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder. And then I'm going to be on the radio with Vlad this coming Saturday. That's tomorrow from noon to 3:30. And then, of course, you'll be calling in from the Hyundai Air and Sea show out there in Miami Beach. Sunday, I'm going to try to hit the beach myself, man. Get a little extra sun and some fun. And then back here on Monday morning, you're going to be taking a little vacation. So Donno and I will be doing the Joe Rose show. So I'm excited about an early morning.
Love that. Omar, what do you got going on this long weekend here?
First, I got to tell you, yesterday I was taping a podcast with Dolphins Talk. And for those who don't know, I live in Miami Lakes. I live by the Opa-locka airport. And apparently some of these planes or whatever were coming in from the Air and Sea show. And there's video of it on podcast. I'm going to retweet it out. Literally, they caught me during the podcast. It felt like an airplane was coming into my townhome here.
They're loud. Yes, they are loud. Those planes. Yes.
It was ridiculously loud to the point where
they are very, very loud.
Yeah, and so
those planes do a lot of damage, Omar. If you know that's kind of their purpose.
I thought I was going to die.
Some of them are really quiet, like so they're actually really cool. So if you go out on the beach tomorrow and you come hang out with me at the Hyundai Air and Sea show, you will see this. So some of them, they approach very quietly, like you don't hear them coming, but they're really loud, like after. And I assume that's after they drop the bombs on you. Then you just you can hear them going away, but you don't hear them coming. Stealth, I believe they call that in the world of Top Gun and all that.
I don't know what it went on for like 3 minutes, and I was terrified. I'm not even gonna lie, it was so loud.
They're here to protect you, though, Omar. They're not gonna hurt you, so you're all right.
Okay,
you're all right.
This is America. We're gonna.
Yes, they're on your side, Omar. Feel happy that they're on your side. Anything else going on this weekend, though, Omar?
Yeah, I'm going to a party at Gulfstream tonight, and then
really?
I've got a kids party on Saturday, and then I've got an adults party on Sunday. This is a turn-up weekend for me.
All right. I won't be turning up as much.
Yeah.
I
expected a Memorial Day pool invite from you, but that's okay.
Well, I haven't firmed up my plans yet. The only plans that I have, I'm going to the Hyundai Air and Sea show tomorrow, and I'll be calling in with Dan and Vlad. I'm doing some gardening today, Omar. I'm doing some gardening. So
you didn't even invite me. Gardening is something you can invite me to.
So Frank, at the Flamingo Road Nursery, has been texting in our show, and I finally went out there last week. I love the place. Is amazing, by the way. They have a cafe there, and the kids were having smoothies, and they were hanging. I was looking at stuff. It's just an amazing place. So Flamingo Road Nursery is where I'm going to be today, and they have a whole plan set up for the backyard, and we're going to get some trees and some plants. And
tell Frank, holler at me. I'm a gardener. I love gardening. I have like 50 plants, bro.
You want to meet me out there today?
I got a busy day today. I would normally, but today is the day I'm trying to do all my work for like 3 days.
All right. Well, that's where I'm going to be today. I'll be at Flamingo Road Nursery. I'm going to go see Frank over there, and we're going to do some gardening, Omar. I'm going to get my biggest shovel out, and no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do any of that part of it. I'll probably end up doing more damage than good, but
is important. It's good. It's grounding.
Look, if they wanted me to assist In the plant thing, I would do, but I don't want to kill any plants. I just feel like I probably would not get the job done, very well. So anyway, we'll let the professionals handle that part of it. But looking forward to going out there
I will
today.
say this: get yourself a bougainvillea. Get yourself a bougainvillea. Tell Frank you want some bougainvillea. You want a little color in your yard. Okay.
All right. We'll take Omar Kelly's gardening advice here. You could do a gardening podcast, Omar. That could be your next life. All right, we're going to take a pause. We got Mike
this
Florio.
window, you'd see like 50 plants.
All right.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
In this life, you are a football guy. So we will talk to Mike Florio when we come back here in the 9 o'clock hour on QAM.
I'll tell you what else is a good
And now, the new home of the two-time World Series winner, Miami Marlins.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Doral Volkswagen, home of the price seat to our lowest price. Visit us, Doral Volkswagen, or at DoralVolkswagen.com. Tonight, it's Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals, 8:30. Series tied at 1 between the Spurs and the Thunder. At 8 o'clock, the Golden Knights and Avalanche do battle with Vegas up 1-0 in that series. Marlins, they'll host the Mets tonight at 7:10. Yuri Perez gets the start. And Inter Miami, they play at New Stadium against the Philadelphia Union Sunday at 7. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Storm season is coming. Make sure your home is ready. Get your free roof and window estimate today. Visit tornadoroofing.com. Temperatures in the mid to high 80s today with some cloud coverage. Enjoy it now, though, because it is supposed to be pretty much rainy all Memorial Day weekend long. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back in here. It is the 9 o'clock hour on a Friday. Hollywood Omar Kelly, Dan Day along here with you. Big weekend coming up, a 3-day weekend. Hope everyone is has some good plans in store.
Dan is raining on my parade by telling me it's going to rain on me.
I know. He's probably, I don't want to say he's wrong, probably wrong, but usually the weatherman does that.
I'm not perfect. It'll be intermittent.
I listen, I don't want to say that this is Dan Day because Dan Day, he's always been an honest guy around me.
But I'm not a weatherman.
But is there a chance he just tinkered with the forecast because he wants the beach to himself?
Oh, no. The more the merrier. I want to see some bad ones out there,
I don't know. He's like like that episode of Curb where the weatherman says it's going to rain. Don't, stay home. And he's out on the golf course by himself. That could be Dan here with the beach. So
maybe
you never know. Speaking of which, we do have the Marlins are in town this weekend. That, by the way, will not matter, rain or shine. They are good to go. We do have some stuff coming up here in the coming days and weeks here with the Marlins. We got the Diamondbacks in town June 9th through the 11th. We got the 4 for $44 deal presented by Pepsi. 4 tickets, 4 dogs, popcorn, and drinks, all for $44. And Omar, this might be more up your alley. You can get the 2 for $25, get 2 tickets and 2 12-ounce beers for $25. So if you want to do a little date night at the Marlins game, you can do that. We got the Citrus Series coming to town with the Rays June 5th through the 7th. We got Dollar Hot Dogs presented by Salem's, 90s Night presented by Coors Light, and we got SpongeBob Day as well. Omar, are you a SpongeBob fan?
Yeah, I am, but I have children, so I definitely. What will they give me?
You know the song. Do you know how the song? Do you know how the song goes?
SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes.
Fantastic.
Who lives by the something to see.
He lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Yes.
So they do have a special ticket package for said SpongeBob game on Sunday, June 7th. You get a SpongeBob tropical shirt, Omar. Marlins.com/SpongeBob is how you make those arrangements. Now, I would like to go around the room here. Not that you guys are going to help anyone out here, but I would like to get everyone's thoughts on this game tonight because I have absolutely no idea. Thunder and Spurs. We're heading to San Antonio for this one. We know the atmosphere there is going to be electric. The Spurs are favored on the Hard Rock app now. I see this number has been moving from 1.5 to 2.5. It's at 2.5 now. The Spurs are favored at home, minus 2.5. The money lines on this game: Spurs minus 130. Thunder plays slightly, plus money, plus 110. Man, Dan, I'll start with you. You got to put your hard-earned money on this one tonight. Which way are you leaning? Do you want to go on a money line? You want to take one of the spreads here? What do you like?
My heart is with the Spurs, but for the Spurs to win this series, they need 3 more monster games from Victor Wembanyama, and I think Oklahoma City is really desperate to get that home court back. So if I had to bet, not my heart, my wallet, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder winning tonight, finding a way.
Omar, what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
I'm a Wemby believer. I believe that this is going to be his era, and I believe that tonight is the night. I remember watching Michael Jordan. I fell in love with basketball watching Michael Jordan play against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. I believe that this is the beginning tonight of the Wemby era. I'm going with the Spurs.
All right, you're falling in love all over again, huh?
Yes, I am.
All right, so Omar's taking the Spurs. I like OKC. I think this is such a tough pick here, but I do kind of like OKC in this game, and I like taking the points. If you can get that extra couple of points there, give yourself a little wiggle room in case you got a last-second shot type of situation here. So you could take the points. There's not much of a difference, -110 on the points, +110 on the money line, so not a huge difference there. So I'm going to go Spurs and with the points. So we're all over the place here. We got differing picks. This is again a very, very tough one to pick here this evening. Should be a wildly entertaining ball game. I am looking forward to parking myself on the couch tonight. This one tips at 8:30, so maybe the kids, they go off to bed, and we'll crack open a beer and some junk food and just marinate on the couch tonight. I probably should take it a little easier on the food though, because I do have to go to the beach tomorrow. Although
they're going to be just nice.
It'll be full shirt. Yeah, I will be, Dan. I will be wearing my polo, my golf shirt. Be looking very nice for everyone.
I'm doing my Crowder training, so I'm almost at shirt off kind of situation here. Yeah.
Wow.
I've been getting it in. I got 4 of these 6 abs showing.
All right. Fair enough.
The lower ones are giving me a little trouble, but I'm working on it.
I might have to get out there with you, man. It's beach season coming up here, Omar. I'm not a huge beach guy, but maybe I'll take you up on one of these workouts. No, the sun is my arch enemy. I'll be wearing a lot of sunscreen tomorrow. We're gonna have Mike Florio join us. We'll talk some NFL football, get to all the headlines in the National Football League when we return here on QAM.
Right now, though, I got to tell you listen to every guy out
on FM 104.3, and you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
Your favorite shows, the games of your favorite South Florida teams. We've got them
right here on the Q, baby.
Catch us on FM 104.3 or listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Don't miss a thing.
Welcome back in here on WQAM. Hollywood, Omar Kelly, Dan Day along here with you. We're going to head out to the Toyota of Hollywood Hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale, one location. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. ToyotaofHollywood.com, where we are joined by Pro Football Talks Mike Florio. Mike, good morning. How you doing?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good, good. And I see Aaron Rodgers is making his way back. We spent a lot of time talking about him, and I guess this is a farewell season for him, Mike, but is this a good move here by the Steelers to bring this guy back at this point, like to do a farewell tour? Is that good for them? Is it doing them a disservice? Like, where do you stand on this whole Aaron Rodgers thing?
Well, I think it's two separate issues. One, is it a good idea for them to bring him back? They'd already boxed themselves into a corner with Aaron Rodgers because they didn't have a better option. So if you whittle it down to Mason Rudolph or Will Howard or Drew Aller versus Aaron Rodgers, it's a no-brainer. The problem is they put themselves in that position by not pursuing any of the other veteran free agents who are available, by waiting and waiting and waiting for Aaron Rodgers to finally recommit. I think there's an argument to be made. He specifically waited until the schedule came out to announce his plans for 2026, that if the league had known, number one, that he was coming back, and number two, that it was going to be his last year, the Steelers probably would have had a much more convoluted and non-normal schedule than what they ended up with. So where the Steelers were as of a week ago, yeah, it made sense. They needed him and he needed them. This whole farewell tour thing, though, it was delivered so nonchalantly by Rodgers. I started brainstorming, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of a franchise quarterback who did a farewell tour. Dan Marino didn't. None of them did. This is a Derek Jeter style, hey, everybody, pay attention to me. Hey, everybody, talk about me. This is the classic Aaron Rodgers play. He doesn't act like he's seeking attention, but he does little things aimed at generating attention, whether it's by not talking at all so everyone else will try to figure out what he's going to do, or just casually saying, this is it. He doesn't announce a farewell tour. He doesn't have to. He just says, this is it. And when you sit down and think about it, it's like, holy crap, this year is going to be all about Aaron Rodgers. His last trip here, his last trip there, his last game here, his last game there. Goodbye, Aaron Rodgers. Goodbye, Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be an extended goodbye. However the season shakes out for the Steelers, the storyline is going to be this is the last season of a guy who played 22 years and is one of the all-time greats.
But, Mike, I don't know that this is going to go the way that he's hoping. Like, I don't know that every NFL stadium is just going to give this guy the standing ovation that, like Dwayne Wade on his Blast Dance tour here. Like, I don't know that everyone's going to want to give him a nice standing ovation. I don't, how well liked is he?
Well, that's the problem. He went through a long stretch of his career where he was so obsessed with not being hated that he never really said much of anything, kept his cards very close to the vest, never had really a whole lot to say. And then, it really started in 2021 with the whole COVID thing and the lie that he told. And let's not sugarcoat it. Let's be real with the audience. He lied about his status to the media. He was playing games, and then the truth came out. That was kind of when the heel turn happened, whether he wanted it or not. And that's when he became a polarizing figure in NFL circles. And yeah, I don't know how much true emotion, how much sentimentality is there going to be for the final Aaron Rodgers tour. I think a lot of it depends upon how good the Steelers are this year. It's a lot easier to give a guy a standing ovation when you've just kicked his team's ass as opposed to the other way around. So we'll see how the season goes. But it's a dynamic we didn't see for Tom Brady. We didn't see for Peyton Manning. We didn't see for Dan Marino. We didn't see for Drew Brees. The only guy that comes close to it is Ben Roethlisberger, who let it be known to former teammates and other associates in December of his last year that it was going to be his final season. This is the first time I can think of where we've got a franchise quarterback, a short-list all-time great, who is planting the flag months before the season starts that this is going to be his last year.
Yeah, I've been racking my brain since you've been talking. Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Big Ben. I can't name a guy who went into the season and said, "Hey, this is my final year." Maybe there were players at other positions who did it, but usually with the NFL, they kick you out the door, and it's not you just decide to retire.
Well, that's right. And look, if you watch Rodgers' comments, he finishes with kind of that sly grin of his, which you don't know what it means, but it always means something. And it's not binding that it's going to be his last year. He could do a farewell tour. You know, there have been plenty of popular musical acts that do multiple farewell tours. You know, you call it a farewell tour, you get a lot of extra hype, and everybody comes out and they praise you and everything's great. And then you decide when it's over, you're going to do it again. Nothing stops him from coming back next year. He's not required to retire. If the Steelers don't have a better option, if he has a really big year and he wants to do one more year, he can do one more year. He's only 42. Brady played until he was 45. So that's the other side of this. Is it really his last year? He may believe it. Somebody asked me on radio in Pittsburgh this week, do you believe him? I believe he believes it for now, but I also think that everything is subject to change. And who knows if it really is his last year.
Let's stick with another quarterback. Matt Stafford gets a ridiculous extension, pushes him up to $55 million a year. I've always found his contract situation and his leverage situation a little challenging with the Rams. Do you think that Matt Stafford's possibly holding too much power over there in Los Angeles?
Well, to an extent. I think that the real dynamics were displayed in early 2025 when he was trying to get a raise from the Rams and he wasn't happy with what they had offered. And they called his bluff and said, you can go out and try to seek a trade. So he talked to the Raiders. He talked to the Giants. He had $45 million a year on the table, I think, from both of those teams. He ended up taking less than that to return to the Rams. He doesn't want to leave the Rams. And the Rams have finagled this. And it's amazing that they've pulled this off. They have a year-to-year arrangement with Stafford. And I suspect that when we see the structure of this extension, he will have gotten a raise over the $40 million he was due to make this year. And there won't be any full guarantees, any significant full guarantees that trickle into 2027. And they can, if they decide after this season, move on from Matthew Stafford. But he can't. A true year-to-year arrangement allows both sides to move on when the year ends. Every time they do one of these deals, they always ensure that Stafford is under contract beyond the current season. So the Rams have full flexibility when the season ends to make a decision about keeping Stafford. He never has the ability to say, I'll just become a free agent and let's see what's out there. Can you imagine what he would have gotten on the open market if he's riding last year into free agency? Because we know it's not just football considerations. You have the opportunity to win the offseason by signing the defending MVP. And he would have gotten a hell of a lot more than he's going to get this year from the Rams if he'd been a free agent. So they've worked this thing out perfectly where they can decide truly 1 year at a time whether or not they want to keep him. He never has the flexibility 1 year at a time to decide whether or not he wants to leave. And look, I don't think he wants to leave. I think that's part of it. And once the team knows you don't want to leave, it really is hard to get the best possible contract. It's hard to get top dollar because they know you don't want to leave. So they're going to draw a line in the sand at some point, and they know that you're just going to take their best offer.
Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk here with us. Mike, I wanted to ask you about Urban Meyer. He was in the news a couple of times this week. First off, he lost his lawsuit here against the Jaguars. They're not going to have to pay him after he was fired for a handful of different stuff, and then came out and said that he has lost respect for Michigan. Has he met himself? Like, is it a little strange to hear someone who has done what he's done say that?
Well, did he ever have any respect for Michigan? I mean, when you won't even say the school's name, do you have any respect for Michigan whatsoever? That school up north is what he always called them. So yeah, it's kind of hard for him to throw stones. I don't know much about his time in college, but that year with the Jaguars was a disaster. He never should have been hired. He wasn't suited to come to the NFL. It's almost like he had no idea about the differences between the NFL and college football. He was woefully unprepared. It was one mistake after another. The moment they should have fired him was the moment he didn't get on the plane and fly back from Cincinnati with the Dolphins after the Thursday night game, regardless of the viral video that eventually surfaced from his excursion to Ohio that weekend. I remember Tony Dungy explaining it at the time, like, you're responsible for your team. You need to be with your team. You don't know what's going to happen on that plane. You need to be there in case something happens that the head coach needs to resolve. Could be a fight between players. Who knows what it is? You need to be there. That's the moment that the Jaguars should have said, this just isn't going to work. But it was an accumulation of various things. And ultimately, I believe when the story came out about him kicking his kicker during training camp, even though they didn't fire him when it happened, once that came out, they fired him the next day. And look, losing his arbitration case, hey, you can't win those. It's rigged against you. You sign a contract when you become the head coach that all of your grievances, if you have any, are going to be resolved through a process that's ultimately controlled by the commissioner. You can't win. Now, thanks to Brian Flores and John Gruden, that ability may be crumbling, but he never had a chance to win that grievance, especially with the facts. But even if he had good facts, he wouldn't have won because the system is rigged against the coach who brings the claim against his former team.
Yeah, speaking of my best friend, Brian Flores, Mike, we got a situation where just about every team in the NFL is deposed in this class action lawsuit. It's probably gone on much longer and much further than the rest of the NFL had hoped. This could potentially open up Pandora's box, in my opinion, especially if you're getting to inter-office communications, text history communications. How much do you think the NFL fears this Brian Flores lawsuit? And what will it take to make Flores go away with this?
It's a great point, Omar. This is why the NFL has set up what I generally refer to as a secret rigged kangaroo court of arbitration. They don't want the coach to have a fair shake. They don't want the coach to have the power to request through the normal discovery process that applies in civil lawsuits. And that's how it works. Once you get through the preliminaries, and it took 4 years to get through the preliminaries here. And the preliminary question was, is it going to go to arbitration or is it going to be resolved in open court? And there's still an unresolved question via an effort by the NFL to throw a Hail Mary pass to the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the final order that these claims can be resolved in open court. But the subpoenas sent to all teams, that's just normal part of the process. If you are going to try to prove, and it's very hard to prove an employment case, it's very hard to prove that someone had an impermissible motivation in the decisions they made, because no one is ever going to admit to it. I handled many cases like this on behalf of employees when I was practicing law. No one gets on the witness stand and says, you got me. Yep. We didn't hire this person because of race, gender, disability, national origin, religion, any of the protected characteristics. You got to prove it through circumstantial evidence. And that requires looking at a lot of documents. That requires scouring through pages line by line, looking for anything you can use to provide that circumstantial evidence that supports your case. This is what the NFL tries to avoid. They don't want to have to give these documents up to anyone. They don't want these things to get filed in court, and then they're available for people like us to see and interpret and say, look at this, look at that, look at what this person said, look at that there. And that's why they do it. So we're now in that phase, and I guarantee you the NFL is going to fight like hell to keep things secret, but that's why you hire a good lawyer, and hopefully he's got a good firm, and I think he does, given the wins he's experienced so far. They're going to get to the truth here, and I think at some point, whether it's with Gruden or with Flores, you got to start coughing up money. If you want to avoid it, it reminds me of the concussion settlement. And I'm not saying it was a bad settlement for the players, because it would have been a tough case to prove the things the players were arguing, that the league knew or should have known about the long-term risks, that the players wouldn't have played football if they had been told about the long-term risks. I think most of them still would have played anyway. But the NFL settled it before they had to open up their files to prove what the NFL knew and when the NFL knew it, because that's the kind of thing that can do horrible PR damage. So the NFL is going to have to decide, at what point do we just need to make this guy an offer he won't refuse, so we don't have to share all of this stuff with the world that we would rather the world not see.
I don't think there's a dollar figure you can put on that Brian Flores lawsuit that would make him go away.
Hey, my question is, at what point, and this is a real question, I mean, this is this is practical. What kind of pressure do the Wilfs get, the owners of the Vikings, given the fact that they continue to employ him in a very significant job? And the reason he's got that job still is because he's damn good at what he does. And that's his basic argument. And, he's supposedly amending the lawsuit now to include a global claim of retaliation against the league for not hiring him to be a head coach because he's had so much success fighting against the NFL's preferred system of arbitration. So he's being very, very aggressive with this, and he hasn't suffered a serious career consequence. I always thought the first guy to stand up and sue the league for decades of obvious racial bias in the hiring of coaches and general managers, I thought that guy would just give up his career, which is why no one had ever done it. I'm amazed he's still a defensive coordinator, and I can't help but wonder at what point someone tries to put the subtle squeeze on the Vikings to move on from him as defensive coordinator.
Mike, really quick before we let you run, just want to bring it back down here. And Jeff Hafley with OTAs this week basically came out and said, let Malik Willis worry about playing quarterback. I'll be the leader of the team. And that was quite refreshing to hear the coach say that he's going to be the leader out here for the time being.
Well, you don't want to put too much pressure on a guy who's still trying to find his way as a quarterback. He's only had 6 career starts. And, with any team, you need the quarterback to eventually become the leader. But some guys, it's naturally wired in. They just walk through the door and they take over because they do that in every situation. For a guy who is still establishing himself, and most importantly, Malik Willis has to prove himself to that locker room. So forget about everything else. Come in and prove yourself on the field. And once you start having on-field success, you naturally become a leader. They're naturally going to defer to you. You make good plays, you make impressive plays and bend big throws and win games. Then everyone is going to follow you. So I think that's the right way to play it. And we'll see how it goes. And it's a perfect short-term investment by the Dolphins. Let's see what he does. And if it works out, you keep him long-term. And if it doesn't, you look elsewhere.
Mike, thank you for the time as always. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Friday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. Omar, we're going to keep the Dolphins talk going. Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel. He will join us when we come back here on QAM.
The Joe Rose Show is presented by